Okay, what about now?
Yes, I can hear you now, but you're a bit too loud, so I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
O- Okay,
sorry, I know. Yeah,
it's
I'm feeling a bit
okay.
sick right now as well.
Ah, dude, if you were sick, you didn't need to do that. That wasn't necessary.
Yeah. I mean, is this gonna be the last black screen?
No, this is like the second to last, so
Yeah. I mean, I still want to be here at least for a few minutes.
yeah. Um, so welcome everybody. Black Screen episode what? 16? Episode 16.
Yep.
We were
For
supposed to
the
Huh?
for thumbnail.
Yeah. We were supposed to do Ultraman Rising today, but I decided to give the people a voice. Biggest mistake of my life. I keep doing that. I keep committing the same mistake of doing the democracy. I keep making that mistake. I hate democracy. Look what it's doing. It makes me just do stuff I don't want to do. Like talk about this stupid idiot. Oh, hi, Godslayer. Hello there. In chat, that's my buddy. That's my best friend. That's my bro. Buddy, known him for a while. He's been on a couple streams. Yeah, it's gonna be honest with you. I'm a tad bit tired of. Oh, he says stop giving people power. Yeah, you'd think I'd learned my lesson by now. You think I'd learned my lesson by now, but well, it's not gonna happen again because then the last stream I'm gonna leave the best for last. Yeah. So yeah. Um, hold on. Chat isn't working for me. I'm trying to set. Oh no, never mind. Here we go. Okay, so chat. Hello there, everybody. Blackscreen episode 16. I already did this intro. Okay, so what are we doing today? We are doing a response stream to a response video. I'm excited because I haven't seen it yet.
Mm.
Astro. Oh, okay. I thought you were zoned out.
No, I'm still alive. Don't worry.
Okay, so I we're late. I had to run some errands and fix OBS because they really put the BS in OBS here. Um, s yeah. So there was a response video. Some people took offense to my video. Well, me in particular as a person, because apparently I am pretentious. I am a pretentious hack. I am pretentious. Um, of course, the very definition of pretentious would mean that one is doing that to appear smarter than they actually are. And the fact of the matter is, as a thing, like I don't think anybody online is gonna hate me as much as I hate myself. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be very hard to be a Blackaroonie hater because the number one Blackaroonie hater in the world is probably me. So I don't know. I don't know. Like you can try and try. It's never gonna work. All right, you're never gonna out hate me. It's not gonna happen.
It's hating time.
It's hating time, yeah. And also, being a hater is actually kind of a virtue, especially if you hate on really stupid people. Speaking of stupid people, did you see the debate, Astro? Just for chat, I know you did, but did you just for
Yeah, I
chat?
mean, yeah, I did a lot of drawing during it because I got this new drawing tablet, which I haven't used much often. So I finally got a chance to, practice that while listening to the debate. I mean, I guess it
Yeah,
wasn't really listening, but more like background noising.
yeah, yeah. I was doing the same thing, except for me, I was just watching the memes. I was just listening to memes. That's all I've been doing. Just looking at memes of the debate. It's an experience. It's a very fun experience. Um, but yeah. So what do we have today here? We have the nah. I was gonna say detractor. That's not the right word. We have someone who takes offense to my video and well, not my video, but me as a person. It's a guy named Martin. Uh, so I did not set up the watch together because I am dumb.
Ace.
I am retarded, as you all know. I am very, very autistic when it comes to these things. So I'm going to create a room, set it up, and I am going to do a thing. I'm gonna do a thing. I'm gonna set this whole thing up.
Do the
Do you guys
thing.
remember that doctor?
What?
Do the thing. Do the
Yeah,
thing, Rooney.
I'm trying to send you the thing, the room, the invite room. Here you go. Here's the invite link. Invitation copied. And I just sent it to you. Yeah.
Sweet.
He said,
Let's see.
Godslayer in chat says, you're not smarter than you think you are. You're just smarter than them, and that makes them mad. I don't know how to.
True though.
I don't know how to take that compliment. So, thank you or sorry that happened. Are you in, Astro?
Yes, I'm in. Oh yeah, I found the video. I was the one who found this video, by the way, chat.
Yeah, Astro found the video. It wasn't me. I didn't. You know, that's the funny part. Astro makes more of an effort to make content out of people making content out of me than I do it to myself. It's almost as if I'm not a grifter. And I mean, neither is he technically, but yeah, like it's almost as if I literally cannot grift. I don't have the energy to grift. So, but you know, I'm a grifter apparently.
True though.
Oh, Federico Bonizoni, hello, #1 fan. How you doing? Uh, can y'all hear the actual? Did you guys manage to catch the video audio? Because I want to make sure that everything is a-okay before we stream. I don't want to just have to deal with all this technical difficulties. I don't want to have to deal with it. So, like, can you guys hear it or no?
Let's get in chat as well, just in case.
Yeah. Bow now 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 now. Da na 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 da down.
It's elevator music. Good news, audio's working per chat. Thank you, Godslayer.
Thank you. It seemed like I was coming through. It was coming through just fine. The actual video, okay, okay then. I had to change it to like a different channel in the OBS because it was playing from a different channel, the audio. So I'm gonna double check. Is the content audio ready? Sounds good. All right then, let's begin.
Do you guys
Oh crap! Hold on.
remember that doctor Skipper? Do you guys remember?
Hold on.
Let's not begin.
It's doing the echo thing again. It's doing the echo thing. So let me just mute desktop audio again, and let's see if this is. Hold on, because I think um you can't be heard. Can you guys hear Astro in the in the call? Can can you guys hear him or no? Say Astro say something, because I can hear you, but I don't know if they can. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I
My funny
figured.
jokes. Oh, not anymore. Oh, so they were able to hear me before.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to know. Cause like there's the desktop audio and then there's the content section, which is where I would play all the videos and reactions and stuff like that. So okay, say something now. How about now?
Testing, testing. I hope you hear me. I hope I am visible. Or I guess
Oh,
audible is the correct word. Oh, they
oh,
can hear me
okay.
now.
Okay,
Sweet.
cause I unmuted the thing with the audio. Okay, maybe if I mute the content part, let's see, cause it was echoing. So let's see.
Do you guys remember that doctor Skipper video?
It still sounds echoey.
Do you guys remember that doctor Skipper video I made a couple months back?
Yeah.
I sure did. Shit gig.
Oh no, that's just part of. Oh, okay, so it sounds a lot better now. But can you guys hear it? The actual audio, like the actual audio of the video. Can you hear it? Can you guys hear it?
Yep, I can hear it on stream.
Yeah, I just want to know if they can. Doesn't sound echoey
Well,
or
no, I
anything.
have the stream on this on. I was able to turn off my Discord thing and hear the video.
Oh, okay, okay, they can hear it now. Okay, it's good. That's what I wanted to know.
Yep.
They can hear the audio. It
Press
doesn't sound
play.
echoey. All right, we can begin.
Do you guys remember that Dr. Skipper video I made a couple months back? I sure did. Shit gave me way more views than I was used to. A little while later, after making that video, I stumbled across this. Me, being blissfully ignorant of what I was just about to watch, thought to myself, yeah, this might be an interesting perspective on Godzilla's ever-shifting tone. I'll check it out. But afterwards...
Nigga, what the fuck is this bullshit?
This video sucked ass. Blackaroony is a small channel that is mainly concerned with discussing movies and TV shows. Godzilla in particular, on which he holds very strong opinions. He's also incredibly unlikable as a person. For one, he does not vary the opinion of the other side at all. And this ties into my next factor, disingenuousness.
Okay,
Ooh,
pause.
let's talk about that. Ooh,
Okay,
are you
okay. So,
disingenuous?
am I disingenuous? I think both myself and other people have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that um I'm not being disingenuous. I don't, at least I try not to be. There's also, but we'll have to see what his points are before we can make a proper counter argument. We can't just say no to everything that he says. Um, so me being unlikable as a person, yeah, yeah, I'm not for everybody. I'm not for, yeah, like, I kind of get. You know what? I'll give him that. I get what he would say that. A lot of people do not agree with that. A lot of people think I'm cool, which I don't know why, but they do, and I appreciate that. Um, yeah. So I the being like, okay, respecting the opposition. So let's go through what respecting the opposition means in this context. So respecting the opposition in this case is just what do you think respecting the opposition would mean, Astro?
Man, I imagine a lot of. I don't know what the video creator wants. People are going to have different versions of what they want in terms of fitness, because sometimes people just want 100% yes man energy. Sometimes people just want you to uh, agree with at least a single point, as weird as that may be.
Hmm. I can definitely see that, and that goes into like my previous video, the video that I posted recently about Godzilla's versatility. I don't disagree that Godzilla is a versatile character. My issue is just with first of all, just how much he deviates from his original meaning, and secondly, the level of effort that is put in imagining these new and imaginative ways to depict Godzilla, and none of them are rooted in what he originally represented. Uh, I'm a purist, and I think that maintaining a pure identity will definitely help Godzilla. I'm not saying you could make different iterations. We clearly have had those, and I've said in the very same video that the Polygon trilogy does something completely different, and the only issue with that anime trilogy is the writing of the characters, because the characters are really, really flat. That's my main concern regarding that particular trilogy of videos. So it's not. I'm not. I don't think if that's his definition, then I don't really think I do that all that much. Matter of fact, I try to find some form of common ground so we can have something to agree with. My issue is, however, of course, it will always be the execution. Execution will always be the main issue with these types of things, which is why I criticize Godzilla as much as I do, because I think he deserves to be placed on a much higher bar than what the fan base has placed him. And there's also the issue of, when it comes to respect, I don't think Godzilla fans respect Godzilla much as an art form, as like what he can be in as an as a piece of art. I had a stream with Zimzilla the other day, pitching our Godzilla stories. My story in particular, all of them liked it, but I thought it was kind of okay. I saw a criticism of the, small little critique a small little critique in the
A little
comments of
bit
one
of
of
the
my community
critique.
posts. Huh?
A little bit of the critique.
Yeah, it didn't say anything bad. It said that I needed to redraft more, which is always true. It's always good to redraft. That's always good. It felt a little cheesy. I felt it was cheesy, which is why I said my Destroy All Monsters pitch was a lot better than the um with the I thought that the Destroy All Monsters pitch that I made on the Zimcast stream was a lot better, almost not just because of the tone, but also because I thought it was more better written than mine, because mine was a bit cheesy. I can definitely agree with that. Uh, Federico in chat says subjective people are the worst. Okay, I'm gonna clarify something. Having subjective discourse in regarding movies and TV shows is not necessarily bad. The issue is, however, when you criticize a movie and people fall back with the "oh, it's just your opinion," "oh, it's just my opinion." They will label their empirical states of facts as an opinion to hide themselves and shield themselves from proper discourse, which is the main issue. Subjective analysis is not inherently bad. I just want to make that abundantly clear. It's not that the subjective analysis is bad. It's just that the um the way people argue about movies, they implement subjectivity where it doesn't belong, is what I'm saying. Because a lot of these people use statements of facts to back up their opinions, which is they'll use objective language and then claim it's subjective. Like, for example, saying that our black sun is beautiful. It sounds like an opinion, but it really isn't, because, well, I mean, it is, but it's not inherently subjective. You're using objective language. When you say the word there is or there are, that is inherently objective, because you are stating that something is. It's a statement of being. So, and being something is measurable. It's observable. You can see it and measure it, and we have certain standards that would qualify as to what is and is not a star, and what makes or breaks a black sun. And we know for a fact that our sun is not black. We know for a fact that our sun is yellow orangey, if you want to go that way. But yeah, I'm not gonna, like, it's when people misuse the word objective and subjective. That's the main problem I have with them. It's not that subjective analysis is inherently wrong. It's just something I want to clarify for Federico. Joe Taro
Yeah,
Cujo says,
I certainly agree.
yeah,
Because language is important. And I do feel like there is a massive disconnect with language now, especially if you're in different sections of the internet. You're gonna view different words differently, like subjective. Subjective almost has a completely different feel in different communities. Like the Mahler community. That's a
yeah.
good example of the word adjective is used a lot.
I try to avoid it as much as possible because I always cringe whenever I use it, but I feel like it's necessary when I say it, just to emphasize what it is I mean. Objective, as in this is a fact. And for the record, objective does not necessarily mean irrefutable. You also have to just use objective information to counter that fact. For example, if I say Spider-Man flying in Spider-Man Far From Home is a plot hole, because then that means he could fly away at any moment to escape from danger, and yet he doesn't. That would be that is technically objective because you're making a statement of fact. However, the fact in itself is wrong. So, it says that I'm quiet. It says that I'm quiet.
Yeah, I can hear you on stream. It's just that your audio version's a bit low.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm trying to. Let's see if I can fix that on Discord, because I don't know how to fix that. Like, I've been trying to fix it for a while, but mute deafen apps profile mention. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. Maybe if I double the, hold on, duplicate volume. Can I duplicate like the mic thing? Because I've been trying to vertical layout
Not
properties.
sure. I mean, yeah, but honestly, I think you're fine with the audio right now. You could always just boost it later in post.
Oh, never mind. I think I found a way to boost the audio of the. Okay, guys, can you hear me now, or am I too loud? Using OBS? Yes, I'm using OBS. I'm boosting the audio in the advanced audio properties. Tell me if you guys can hear me properly. I don't know. I don't know if they're probably typing in the chat. Probably.
Let's see. Talk now, Rooney. Yep, I can hear you on stream. Yep.
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay, I sound better. Mute yourself, please. And then in chat, there he is. There's my boy. But yeah, I'm a Godzilla. Sea Monster Essays. Hello there. He says, "Well, I'm a Godzilla fan, and those words have meaning to me." I think what Godslayer was meaning in chat. I think what he just meant is just the people that don't like it when they critique their giant monster lizard. So, yeah, I think that's it. I don't think he's referring to like all Godzilla fans. I like to believe that most Godzilla fans have some standards. That's what I like to believe. However, the discourse that I've been seeing right now, it has not been very helpful. It's something that something that requires addressing. It's very sad to see too. Like, thanks, Rooney. That's what I meant. Oh, no problem. Call bro the center of the solar system because he's my son. That unironically goes hard. You should probably say that to have a kid, and imagine just like you have a kid and he wins a baseball game, or you shout that out from the bleachers. Yeah, call bro the center of the solar system because he's my son. That unironically goes hard. Well done. I'm gonna remember that. Let's continue. Also, the music for this guy's thing.
Pretty good.
It's good, but it's loud. Like, I can't hear what he says a lot of the time.
Because he doesn't value the opinion of others, he'll often intentionally misinterpret them, put them in the wrong context, and start disrespecting the opposition. It's effectively straw manning.
No.
No.
I mean, misrepresenting misrepresenting it, and then using or attacking the misrepresented version of that opinion, that is technically straw manning, but everything else doesn't constitute straw manning, and I have not been doing that. But let's see what he says.
He kind of uses a broad term.
Another thing with that, he doesn't seem to view what he's saying as opinions. He seems to view them as facts. Most of his videos are him trying to convince the viewer that what he's saying is objective, and because of that he often enough doesn't explain himself because he thinks that what he's saying is obvious, when in fact, no.
And the biggest problem is that this impacts both the structure and the persuasiveness of his videos.
Okay, you know what? I give this guy.
Like that's kind of the point of making a video, is to do that.
Okay, I will give him this.
Try and convince the other side.
I will give him this. I will give him credit where credit is due. My videos, my short videos, my video essays, they usually don't offer a lot of in-depth explanations as you would find in a stream, which is why I have them in the first place. There are plenty of streams where I go more into detail, including this one, on my takes, and I view them as facts, I view them as facts because there is evidence to support that information, which I present both in some videos, although peppered in, and a lot of the time in streams. In fact, that's pretty much the reason why I have them. Whenever I can't explain something in a video essay, which, the runtime won't let me, I usually explain it in a stream, which is why I have them. I don't think he's seen my streams, and if he's doing research for my channel, because he's pretty much attacking my channel, and if I didn't make any streams, then I would give him that point. But at the same time, I also don't expect him to watch every single one of his streams, one of my streams.
Yeah, I feel like attacking is the strong word. It's more like just criticism.
I say attack, but that doesn't necessarily have to be like a negative. You know what I mean? It could just be because he in his mind he thinks he's doing something good, and for all intents and purposes, there is something noble about informing the people like the truth, telling them the truth. So again, like I don't think there's something inherently like bad or evil or anything like that. That's just the word. It's just a word choice. Sea Monster in the chat says, "I'll give this guy a point for using Mario saying no from Hotel Mario. Viewing facts as facts is stupid." I mean, it's a position that you can hold, so that technically means it's an opinion by definition. However, it's something that is rooted in fact, and I present those facts both in my videos and in streams. More so in my streams because I have more time to do that. What kind of bootleg Poke Sprite am I looking at? That I have no idea. It looks like that SCP.
I think it's in. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The famous one, Peanuts. That's the name of it.
I forgot the numerical SCP thing number title, but it definitely looks like that specific SCP, which is kind of like I was kind of like hard to pinpoint like where the face ends and where the rest of the body begins. It's kind of, but yeah, no, I have to give him credit because you're not gonna get a lot of deep explanations from my video essays. You're probably gonna get that more from my streams, but also and I would expect him to watch my streams if he wants to go into detail, like if he wants to SCP-173, yeah, that's the one. If he wants to like get a deeper understanding of my positions, then he should probably watch my streams. But if he's just doing like a quick overview, then I can forgive him for not watching my streams. I can definitely see why he wouldn't, or if he's even aware of them, which fine. That's also part of the reason why I started Blackscreen Bites, because I knew that people aren't going to watch the streams in their totality, so I don't expect them to either. So that's why I have Blackscreen Bites. I take a bite out of a specific part of the stream and turn that into a video so it's more digestible for the audience, and also add clips from movies so that I can keep the audience retention, so I can share my points without having to bore them with the minutia of having to listen to me deal with the technical difficulties of OBS while I'm streaming. So I kind of get it. So I will give him credit for that.
It's just sheer overconfidence and arrogance, and you have an incredibly unlikable video host. There are 3 videos in particular I'd like to address. I'll begin with the video No Sympathy for the Monsters, because fuck you, no reason in particular. This video is a lot of things, but what it's not is good. This is by far the most disingenuous video of the 3, and it starts as soon as the video begins.
Look at these scenes, dear viewer. Look at them and imagine you stuck in the chaos, the pandemonium, the carnage. Imagine. What would you do? How would you react? Would you react negatively? What would you do? Now let's go back. I am particularly proud of that clip because I remembered that South Park episode of like, what should I do? Everybody, it's like a consistent, it's like the LeBron James tactic. That's what they call it in the show. And I thought that was really funny. And I thought that as a visual gag, that was probably going to be like the best possible reflection of what it is that I'm saying, which is why I included it in the video. It's really, I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy that I did that. Onto his point, however, okay, so overconfidence. Let's go one by one. Overconfidence and arrogance. Speaking authoritatively on a subject gives you a lot of points for you know, to try and convince your audience. Like if you sound like you're sure of your position, then people are going to take you more seriously. And clearly they did, because the videos are popular. So I don't see why that would be necessarily a negative. I mean, I guess you could levy a point at, okay, well, you're not being humble about your position. And I mean, it's kind of tough to talk about humility in this case, because like if you say you are humble, then that automatically disproves the idea that you're humble, because a humble person would never acknowledge their own humility. It's self-defeating. I don't really think I'm all that humble, but at the same time, I don't think I need to be. Especially, I think if you're good at something, then you kind of, or if you know for a fact that you're right about something, it merits sounding authoritative. As like, because if you're unsure of your position, if you stumble over your words, and you stumble over your own points and realize mid sentence that what you're saying is complete horse crap, then people are not going to take you seriously at all. So speaking authoritatively is not inherently bad. Let's see what the rest of the points he says, though, because I stopped at half a point, and yeah. But so far, 1 minute in, This is probably like the best response video I've ever gotten.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, like as far as response videos go, this is definitely like the best one. Cause at least this guy isn't Rick. At least he's like not trying to pretend to be, you know, whatever the heck Rick is trying to do. I don't know. I don't even know what he's trying to do, to be honest. But I'll give him credit. This guy is definitely better at this than Rick. So, yeah. Also, for my no sympathy for the monster video, that's not necessarily a criticism of Godzilla movies themselves. It's a video of crap, my microphone. It's a video discussing the idea that sympathizing with Godzilla is not necessarily a good idea. On the contrary, it's probably the worst thing you can do because it's like sympathizing with it's like sympathizing with a tornado or sympathizing with a nuclear bomb, or you know what I mean. It's why are they talking about CP in my chat?
The SCP monster.
Super CP. That's what that's what I'm reading. Super CP. Why are you talking about that? Stop it. That's creepy, dude. That's
Anyway.
creepy. Okay.
Anyway, dear chat.
Chat, calm down, please. Calm, please. Back in time to 2001. The Twin Towers are falling, and the loved one jumps off one of the windows in hopes of maybe surviving. Long story short, they don't. The building ends up collapsing, crushing anyone that might be unfortunate enough to be there. Now imagine that instead of terrorists, it was Godzilla that got your mother killed. Would you hate him? Would you call for his extermination? Would you weep?
Notice how he leaves out which incarnation of the character we are talking about. The reason this is important is because it completely changes the context under which our imaginary loved one perished.
Not really. Not really. And here's why. I didn't specify which version, because my whole point, and this is something that I bring up later in the video, is that it doesn't matter what Godzilla's intent is, innocent people will die no matter what. That's the point I was trying to make. So if I focused on a specific version of Godzilla, that would have been redundant. I mean, I could really pick any version of Godzilla and have the same argument, and I would still be right about it, because, well, maybe not the Showa era Godzilla, but even then, Showa era Godzilla has killed people in the past. In Godzilla 1954 and Raids Again, I think in Godzilla vs. King Kong, and I think in Godzilla vs. Mothra, and I think in Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla against the Smog Monster. I'm not sure about the other movies, but off the top of my head, those are the movies that come to mind when I think of a Showa era that has killed people in the past, unintentional or not. Other than that, a lot of the Showa era movies take place in isolated areas with no human intervention or like human like population. But there have been times where Godzilla has destroyed temples and has destroyed places where human population exists, be it many or few. With the Heisei era, I could definitely make that argument a whole lot better. With the Millennium era, I could 100% make that argument as well. With Legendary, with the Reiwa era, I could make that argument for almost every single Godzilla. So it doesn't really matter which version I choose, because even the one that kills people the fewest, which is the Showa era Godzilla, there is still blood on his hands, human blood on his hands. So it doesn't really matter which version that I choose. Destroy All Monsters has all the monsters destroy different cities, including Godzilla, because I don't explicitly remember in Destroy All Monsters. Maybe, I think he might have actually. Yeah, I think he might have. Let's see. High quality H2O, peanuts without the T, Astro in the Jorkin Club, his peanuts. What? Stop. Stop. And then says, this is the funny part, like, which version of Godzilla isn't capable of destroying skyscrapers? Yeah, see? Like, if... Like, are you telling me that no version of Godzilla can destroy cities if you wanted to? Because almost every... Well, actually, no. Every version has destroyed a city at one point. Killed a people at one point. So, like, that version... Broom Criticizer says he did watch... Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember... Yeah. Yeah, see, in my mind, I was thinking, wait, I'm pretty sure he did, right? So yeah, like I knew it, but like I needed to make sure. Yeah, like every single version is capable of destroying cities, and every single version has killed at least one person. Obviously, they've killed more than one person, but they've killed one. But any version of Godzilla has at least killed more than one person. Federico says it doesn't matter what Godzilla version you were talking about; all of them must kill, except the Rule 34 females. For you just had to bring that up, didn't you? But
It had to be brought up. It's hilarious.
it doesn't matter what Godzilla. Not all of them have to kill, but all of them will kill at some point. They will kill a human at some point. Unless you're doing Godzilla BC, but that doesn't exist. So, yeah, let's continue.
Text is important. Here's an example. In 1945, the US nuked Japan. If you didn't know anything about World War II, this makes the US sound horrible. But given historical context, it sounds significantly less horrible. The reason why the US nuked Japan was because the US hoped that it would end the war quicker. If Japan surrendered then, it would mean the US wouldn't have to risk the lives of millions of American soldiers and Japanese civilians. There is a notable difference between the US nuked Japan and the US nuked Japan in the hope that it would end the war quicker and ultimately spare lives.
Okay, so
Well,
I think I know.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. So, with the what's the safest term?
No, just be explicit.
Nuking
Just
of
do
that
it. Just say
area.
it.
It did kill less people than air raids, but it is like the worst weapon in human history. Like there's no walking around that as like the worst weapon in history.
Do you mean like the
I
worst
mean,
weapon
it did
morally or like
say
ineffectively?
it killed less people than air raids, but it's still the worst weapon in all of human history.
Do
I
you
guess there's the hydrogen bomb, but that hasn't been used.
mean the worst
But
as
so
in
this
like
is the worst,
morally or?
worst as in most destruction. Morally is a
Ah.
whole different thing.
Oh.
But it's certainly awkward to talk about.
No, it isn't. Just go ahead. No, this. We don't have any filter here. You just go ahead. Just talk about. Say what you need to say.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's awkward in like which words to put in which statement.
Yeah, we all know
As
you have a speech.
you know,
We all know you have a speech impediment.
like there were ultimately innocent people dead because of it. But here's the thing: we only respect this decision because it worked. Like that's certainly my view of things: is that we respect the decision of the nuclear bomb because it saved more people. But it's still the worst weapon in all of human history. Like that cannot be understated. Like it is not good that it had to come to that, or if it, or some people view like, did it actually have to go like this? Could there have been a better way? Like that's a massive element that has to be analyzed.
Yeah. In regards to that, I would also levy the point that Japan allied themselves with Hitler. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to reflect the views of the people at the time, nor does it have to reflect the views of the people that were nuked. However, the government was still pro-Hitler, and even then, they also did stuff that was arguably just as bad, if not worse, than the Holocaust. If you've read what happened in the human experimentation camps of 731, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so, this is an interesting argument that he brings up, and probably, and yeah, it kind of holds weight. It
Yeah,
definitely holds weight. However, I think that
a heavy topic.
the point that he's going to bring up, I mean, the subject of lives being lost will always be a heavy topic. The point that I think he's going to bring up now is that, okay, well, Godzilla will kill this monster and people will die, but at the very end of the day, it will result in a better outcome. The issue is, however, that with the nuke, that was a last resort, and with the monster fights, those are never the last resort. Those are usually the first things that Godzilla will go to. Like, that's his, like, first instinct. I see monster. I don't like monster. I will fight monster. People will die as I fight monster. I kill monster. I go back home. That's usually his rationale in a lot of the movies. And especially in the Heisei era, you'll see that Godzilla will not care if he needs to trample through an entire city to get to a monster just to fight him. And then, he'll trample through the city some more, even without monster influence. And he's pretty much a villain through and through. He's just as bad as the monsters that he kills. Even Ghidorah, which is traditionally a Godzilla villain, was technically the hero in Godzilla vs. Ghidorah in the Heisei movies. I mean, the movie is very poorly written, but beyond that, Ghidorah is still technically the hero in this scenario. So I thought that was a pretty nice subversion. And then it says, I'm about to get a sandwich. You boys got any recommendations? Tuna. Jotaro Kujo says, the only time I can remember it being a last resort was 2014. I wouldn't say so. I mean, it was definitely the last resort for the humans, but for Godzilla himself, like Godzilla, like that was not his last resort. That was his very first resort. But for the humans, they had to come to that decision and that's what made it a last resort from the humans' perspective. So I mean, I kind of get the sentiment, but a last resort for Godzilla is definitely not the case here. Okay. And then there's the issue that's probably gonna be brought up later. Again, nothing to do with intentions. People will die nonetheless, and because Godzilla doesn't view fighting a monster as a last resort, because of that, and the fact that it happens so often in movies like this, then that really puts a target on Godzilla's back, precisely because, number one, he doesn't see killing the monsters as a last resort, and number two, these monster fights happen way too often. Like, a lot of the time, it's like the whole Lex Luthor and Superman argument. All these aliens keep coming down because Superman is down there, but then also Doomsday existed before Superman. Like, Doomsday predates Superman, so that's rarely the nuance that you'll ever find in a Godzilla story. But I say rarely. It's not that it's not there. It's just, rarely. Like, quantifiably. I'm gathering my thoughts here. You say something.
Let's see. Godzilla? What's the best thing to think here or say? I have to think about what collateral damage is going to happen with a giant monster roaming the streets.
Oh, I just remembered. Yeah, the Gamera Heisei trilogy does this really well, where Gamera, and even the Showa era, where like a lot of the monster fights, even though they're usually the first resort, I would forgive them a lot more explicitly because both Gamera and Showa era Godzilla tries to take the fight away from human population. I think, well, Gamera, does he take that away from human population? I don't. Does he? I remember, because in the first movie he didn't, but in the second and third movie. Well, I could forgive Gamera. I don't remember if Gamera like tries to take the fight away from the city or not. But I do remember that he would only show up whenever there was another monster attack. And he would leave almost immediately. He would literally just fly away. He wouldn't like walk through the street or anything. He would just fly into battle, fight the monster, and then leave. He wouldn't meander through the city killing innocent people. So I don't remember that I remember in Godzilla, like not Godzilla, Gamera versus Iris, where Gamera was fighting one of the Gaios. It's pronounced Gyaos, but I like saying Gaios. One of the Gaios was attacking the city, and Gamera arrived to kill it. However, there was definitely collateral damage, which is the whole issue with that. I mean, I say issue, but that was the main concern that the people had in the plot of Gamera, the Heisei era, and the Gamera versus Iris. And there's also the main villain, Iris, well, the little girl, I forgot her name, where Gamera killed her parents incidentally, and in the first movie, and she hates Gamera for it, which is understandable. Like, she has every right to do that. Every right to do that. because the Gaios were flying creatures, you could make the argument that, well, Gamera could have led the Gaio away, like flying away. Gamera, he could have done that, but he didn't. He could have argued that. You could argue that, and that would give the situation a whole lot more nuance, because at that point you have to question Gamera's methods, which is always good. Like, that revisionist aspect is always appreciated. Federico says, a fun fact about Godzilla fans, they hate with all their blood Gijinkas and Rule 34 and furry versions of Godzilla. I don't care about that, really. This is not a stream about that. Zimzilla says, in Guardian of the Universe, he didn't really try to take fights out of the city. In Legion, same deal. In Iris, however, he does kill humans to kill the Gaios. However, they directly built it up. I mean, yeah. Like, this is how you build. I'm trying to gather my words so I don't stumble over them. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to know. But however, like, unlike Godzilla, Gamera actually gets called out for it. So we're not like Gamera. People definitely die, and it's bad that they die, and something needs to be done about it. But at the very least, they address it and they hold Gamera accountable for the people that he kills indirectly, because people do die, and it is bad that people die because of him, and he does need to be held responsible. But in the Gamera movies, in the Heisei era trilogy, they definitely do that. With Godzilla movies, they really, really don't, which is the main issue here. But yeah, and at the very end of the day, Godzilla doesn't actively try to push the battle away from civilization. So, like, at the end of the day, Godzilla has just as much blood on his hands as any other monster in the MonsterVerse and in any other movie. You don't have to, like, stick with the MonsterVerse. That's the main crux of the whole point here. Let's keep going.
Now let's listen to what additional context Black Rooney gives in regards to this Godzilla.
What happens when you find out people are actually advocating for his study and preservation? What if you found out a company was preventing the government from killing him? What would you do?
This sounds like he's talking about MonsterVerse Godzilla, in which case the death of that imaginary loved one is an indirect result of Godzilla fighting another monster. Not killed intentionally as the 9/11 comparison would suggest. Listen to the difference with and without context. Godzilla killed your family member. Your family member was indirectly killed by Godzilla in his attempts to prevent further destruction.
Yeah, but the thing here is, however, that Godzilla is also still responsible for the destruction. I'm not talking about him. I'm not talking about him crashing into a building after being flung into one. I'm talking about him walking up to the monster, stomping on people, walking through a building, stomping on the building, or just like pushing the building because it's in his way, and the building is full of people, or pushing Ghidorah into the building. And again, I'm being very general here. This isn't something that's also exclusive to the MonsterVerse, because we also have Miki Segusa from the Heisei era, who is actively trying to stop the government from trying to kill Godzilla throughout the entire Heisei era. So it's not it doesn't have to be a company. It could just be anything, which is the whole point, that at least one person will try and stop the government from trying to kill Godzilla, which is my main argument. Simzilla says, wouldn't call Gamera more consistent besides the trilogy and Brave. The show series has lower lows than Godzilla at his worst. Yikes, that sounds pretty bad. But yeah, the main issue, the core issue isn't like Godzilla crashing into a building. And again, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the MonsterVerse either. You could apply this to literally any. There will always be an advocate for Godzilla's preservation and study in a Godzilla movie. You won't see it in the Polygon trilogy. You won't see, because at this point humanity's gone. You won't see in Singular Point because Godzilla is explicitly trying to destroy the world while fighting other monsters. You won't see it in, well, you'll definitely see it in the Showa era, and you'll definitely see it in the Heisei era. And Millennium Goji, I'm not completely sure, because the most I've seen of it is 2000 Final Wars and GMK. I haven't seen Megaguirus. I think there was one more movie, and I haven't seen it in a while. Sea Monster says, Godzilla pushed Ghidorah through an empty building and killed him because monster. Oh. Oh, right. Right. It was evacuated. Yeah, you're right. Um Jotaro says, kind of wish the Heisei era continued, got a continuation, so you could see if Junior tried to be more mindful about humans in populated areas. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
Um, hmm. They could do like what they did with the Godzilla '98 series. They could definitely pull that off, I think. Um, but the whole issue here, that the whole thing with the building Godzilla and that is true, but that still doesn't detract from the whole point that Godzilla will inevitably cause destruction and loss of human lives. And a lot of it won't even be from the fight itself. A lot of it comes from him just arriving to the scene and leaving the actual scene. Evacuations or not. The city being evacuated or not. Zimzilla99 says 2000 is the only where he is an advocate for Godzilla's survival, but directly had plans to stop Godzilla from damaging God. Oh, okay. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Tokyo SOS. The Kiryu duology, the Millennium Era and Godzilla's strictly a villain there. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Because SOS and against Mechagodzilla. Yeah, no, that's I'm not familiar with this game. Let's put it that way. Okay. By virtue of being a villain in those movies, that means that humans are holding him responsible. But it's funny how that only happens if he's explicitly a villain, as opposed. But even in the Heisei era, where his motives are somewhat ambiguous. Well, I say ambiguous. Even in those movies, you have Miki Segusa trying to advocate for his preservation. Because Godzilla has feelings. I should have brought her up in this video, though. Yeah, I don't care if he has feelings. He killed my mom. I love my mom. Let's keep going.
This is the context Blackaroonie leaves out because he needs the viewer to believe that Godzilla is evil. Blackaroonie says that
Godzilla is a living nuke, and the monsters he fights are either the same or worse than that.
when you look at it, with one exception, they're only worse. The monsters Godzilla fights in the Monsterverse were alien hellbent on destroying all life on Earth, robot controlled by that alien, cruel tyrant king that wanted to conquer the globe, and parasitic creatures that would have completely destroyed the ecosystem and any major human settlement were they not stopped. The majority of the destruction Godzilla causes is in an attempt to stop these far more destructive forces. Godzilla might...
Okay, see, that's the thing I wanted to highlight, because it doesn't matter what the intention is. Do people die, yes or no? Is he held accountable for those deaths, yes or no? Is he held accountable? No? That is a problem.
Oh no, because he's like a giant lizard. It's hard to deal with capturing a giant lizard.
I will give King of the Monsters credit for this. They built the Oxygen Destroyer in response to Godzilla. I will give them credit. But the thing is that they don't try again. They don't need Monarch's permission to make the Oxygen Destroyer, but so they don't try again. They don't try to use the Oxygen Destroyer on the other Titans. They could ask Monarch to inform them on everything they know about the Titans to see whether the Oxygen Destroyer would work on which Titan and develop weapons for a specific type of Titan in case it doesn't work. So they definitely have options to go that route. KOTM is really the only one that did. Yeah, pretty much. That's the only, but it's immediately dropped afterwards. It's immediately dropped. Like after KOTM, this concept is just completely dropped. Why is Johnny? Oh, he's singing. Why is Johnny Comes Marching Home playing in the background in 1863? I don't know, but I like it. It's a bit too loud. Humans have feelings too. Yeah, so like why should the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many? Now you could argue that Godzilla's needs are intertwined with the humanity's needs, at least in the Monsterverse. However, I would argue that's not necessarily the case, because all they really need is just all the monsters need in these movies is just radiation to survive. They don't need humans around to exist, because they don't produce radiation. I mean, we have nuclear power plants, but there are more abundant sources of radiation out there in nature, like the sun. If let's say Godzilla decides to destroy the ozone layer, a bunch of radiation from the sun could start raining onto the, like, he could technically survive without a protective ozone layer. Godzilla could theoretically survive on the moon or in Venus precisely because of the amount of radiation the sun emits. Because of this. Alex Gomez says, addressing the death and destruction takes away from melodramatic. Godzilla is a balancing force speeches. Exactly. Godzilla, you could argue that Godzilla is a balancing force, but the issue here is that Godzilla only tips the balance in his favor and in the favor of his fellow monsters. And there are less monsters than there are humans. So again, why should the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many? Why should we let ourselves keel over? Because big monsters are going to destroy the world. They don't need the world to be in the state that it is right now. Like, the monsters don't need the world to be like this. On the contrary, one could make the argument that having civilization and humanity live as we do, and having an ozone layer at all could be an issue for the monsters because they're not getting as much radiation as they would have back in the day when the Earth was much more radioactive, as the Monsterverse puts it. So it would actually be a lot more beneficial to just get rid of us, get rid of the ozone layer, and have the sun's radiation shower over the entire planet, so that the Titans could grow and more powerful and absorb that radiation. Like, it's not explicit what kind of radiation so it is just assumed that it's just radiation in general, and the sun emits like a ton of radiation. So theoretically, they could, after exhausting all the nuclear power plants in the world, they could just bore a hole in the ozone layer, destroy the entire planet, and leave it as, some radioactive hellscape, and they could absorb the radiation there and just become stronger, and then use their powers to recreate the Earth in their image. So really, what Ghidorah was doing in King of the Monsters is not too different to what they could have done on their own. So how are they, like, even if Ghidorah comes from a different environment and he is an invasive species, how is his behavior any different from what the monsters, the Titans from the Earth could have achieved? How is that any different? They're just as bad for humanity, which is the whole thing I'm trying to say here. They're just as bad for humanity as Ghidorah, someone like Ghidorah would be. And even then, like, the point of Mechagodzilla isn't really all that, doesn't hold that much weight either, because Mechagodzilla was built to fight
He's so
these
cool.
monsters. I hate his design.
He's
It's so
complicated.
Cool. He looks so.
Oh yeah, the movie
dude.
design is like something out of Bayverse Transformers.
No, don't you besmirch that name. At least Bayverse Transformers makes things look cool. This looks not cool. They should have just used Dagon's bones as a foundation for his design, or like a blueprint or something. You don't know who Dagon is, don't worry about it. But the Monsterverse fans do. Like, if you know who Dagon is, they should have just used his bones as a foundation.
Oh, like, to make it. That's metal.
Okay, blueprint, whatever. There's actually a Mechagodzilla design that I really, really like from the concept art that I wish they would have used because it's so cool. I'm gonna try and find it because it's such a cool design, dude. It's so cool. I think if you're a Godzilla fan, I think you know which design I'm talking about. It's not the Matt Alsop one. The Matt Alsop one is the exact same as the one in the movie. It's got a bunch of moss around it, and God, what's the name?
I don't know.
No, it's a rhetorical question. Rhetorical question. Whatever. I like the more bulkier design for Mechagodzilla as well in this concept art. Let's see. Boom. This design in particular, I really like it. It's so cool. It's got like a lot of moss, and you can see actually like the bone, you can see that they actually used Dagon's skeleton as a base. I would have loved this design a lot more. It's so cool. This design is super duper cool. Frozen, Godzilla's name is in the title. Yeah, there's like a full body version. I'm gonna try and find it because I don't remember the artist's name, but um, hmm. Oh, they have all the designs in Gojipedia. The Gojipedia. Hold on, open image. Say something while I look for
Yeah,
this.
sure. Let's see.
Keep chat entertained.
Wonder how they animated this thing. Like, how do you have to animate hundreds of pieces? I imagine they have to use some sort of rig to make sure everything moves when something else moves.
That's animation in general.
True. Like, goodness, how much computer power? Like, that must have been so much computer power.
Yeah, that
Good.
the thing is like not every single piece interlocks, so it's not like it's not like Bayverse Transformers, which is the issue. Federico says Kiryu is basically a robot with bones on the inside. Basically, what oh, he's talking to someone else. But yeah, I didn't know that about Kiryu, to be honest. Like Kiryu himself, that does look cool. Personally, the only Mega Godzilla design I hate more than MonsterVerse is Heisei era. That shit genuinely looks like a toy, not an anti-kaiju weapon. Yeah, it looks like a duck. The Heisei era Mega
It
Godzilla looks like
does
a
look
duck.
like a duck.
Yeah. Anyway, this is like more concept art. This is like a side profile. Hold on. Yeah. This design is super cool. I really like the straps. You know, you're strapping in the dorsal plates to make sure they don't move. I wonder if they would have hollowed it out just to like have the proton scream, um, the proton scream like have like a charge up visual. I wonder if they did that because that would have been cool. Like if they hollowed it out. See, I like this design. They should have gone with this design instead of what they got. It's even got like the 2014 dorsal plates too. I love the 2014
Cool attention to detail.
yeah. The 2014 dorsal plates are easily the best dorsal plates in the MonsterVerse. I love those. They make Godzilla look unique, you know, separate from all the others. It helps him stand out on his own, as opposed to just relying on past incarnations. It's so cool. I don't remember the name of the artist, but Sea Monster says, Joe Tarakujo, nah man, Polygon Trilogy and Mechagodzilla's the worst. It looks like such a mess of sharp metal. I completely forgot about that. The Mechagodzilla design for the Polygon Trilogy doesn't even look like Mechagodzilla at all. It's just got like a flat head that doesn't even look like Godzilla at all. It just looks like a completely different thing. It looks really, really bad. It looks like a mess of metal. It looks so disorganized. Anyway, let's continue.
Might get people. But his actions
Yes.
ultimately prevent more people from dying. This brings me to Blackscreen's argument regarding morality. Blackscreen claims that morality is objective, even though it isn't.
Good
Yeah,
and evil are
it's
defined
kind
as
of a debatable thing.
Okay. This is a very complicated question, which is why I kind of need more people here than just you and me, because more people we can bounce off of ideas.
Well, I'm so not interested in talking about the objectivity of morality right now.
I am. Morality. The thing is, like, I don't have the words right now. Like, again, I'm just reacting to this video. I haven't seen it. Oh boy. Okay, so objective morality. If morality is subjective, then rape is fine. How about that? You're not gonna agree with
Pretty
that,
heavy
and you
thing.
like.
I'm certainly not going to agree with that.
Nobody in their right mind is going to
Right.
agree with that, and that is just evidence of objective morality. It does harm to other people, and if it does harm to other people, that is the very definition of a. Hold on.
I'm going to have to write down a whole paper on that, because that's like a People will spend decades of their lives about that question.
Yeah, like subjective morality is not only useless but also dangerous. So, like, rape. We all agree. Rape is bad. We all agree with this. We all agree. That is evidence of objective morality. We all agree with this for several reasons. Number one, there is evidence as to why this is objectively a bad thing. It destroys people's lives, it undoes them, and that's what I characterize later, like immorality. The fact that the concept of immorality exists is as an antithesis to morality, and the fact that we classify these things, we classify them based off of their results. That's what makes them objective, measurable even. I don't like the terms, like how I use the terms to describe that objective morality is a thing, but I think it was worth establishing. And yeah, like morality it's definitely objective. We have morality for a reason. If morality was subjective, then what Dr. Disrespect did recently was actually just not that bad from his perspective, and we shouldn't judge him for it. But nobody's going to say that. And nobody's going to say that because they don't actually believe that morality is inherently subjective. They inherently do not believe it. We're not wired to inherently believe that morality is subjective. That is just a subversion of human nature. Like, morality is not subjective at all. It isn't. There's probably better ways to explain this, but that is how I would explain it. The results that it yields is just proves that the results of moral and immoral actions prove that there is a clear difference. There is a clear evidence of objective and subjective morality. They exist. You can measure them. All right. You can measure how much moral things you do as opposed to how much immoral things you do. You can measure the results of moral and immoral actions. That's what makes them objective.
I mean, there's a lot to go. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not I don't like this so far. I mean, he's definitely got good argumentation points, but by virtue of, denying that objective morality exists, by virtue of denying that, then yeah, no, you lost me there. We're like 4 minutes in. You lost me. You lost me. Objective things that can be measured. Good is characterized by that which enriches, enhances, brings forth life, lengthens life, and maintains sentient beings' existence. Evil, however, seeks to destroy, not create. Evil is unmaking. It reduces, it brings forth death. It is the antithesis of creation, destruction. Okay, hold on. I think I know what the point is gonna. I think I know which point he's gonna bring up there. Well, what if you need to kill someone that's evil? Removing someone from. Okay, so this is what you would call not a loophole, but what's the right word? I don't know what the right word would be. While I find the word, the whole thing. Okay, if you remove evil from the word, that is an inherent good, so it cancels out. Is the best way I could describe this. Immoral according to
Keep
whom?
playing. Find out what he's. I don't know what
Okay.
he's gonna be saying.
Neo in chat says immoral according to whom? Do you need to have a point of like reference? Like do you need to like reference someone else to determine that it's evil according to whom? Why is this necessary? You don't need this to determine whether something is immoral. If, for example, someone gets raped, they contract HIV, that person dies of HIV. The evil action led to a destructive consequence. So it is inherently evil. It is measurably evil because we can see the destructive effects that it leads to. That is the whole issue here. We all know that it's evil, not just because of the results, not only because of the emotional results that it yields, but also the physiological ones as well, and the psychological ones. That person is not going to trust another man again, or anybody else for that matter. And trusting someone, it's what keeps us together. It's what maintains civilization, like trust in each other, trust in humanity, like faith in humanity. That's why we're so divided, because people don't believe in objective morality anymore, even though it clearly does exist. And it's only going to get worse from here. So the fact that we can measure that, the fact that we can make that assessment in the first place is evidence that objective morality exists. You can be an objectively moral person and an
Bernie,
objectively immoral person. What?
that requires a lot to talk about. That's going to be heavier than anything of this can handle right now.
What do you mean anything? That's why we're having the stream in the first place. So we can talk
Yes,
about
but
these
that
things in
requires a
length.
lot of resources to handle.
Resources?
That's
What
a
do you
a major philosophy. It's a massive topic in philosophy about why this is moral to somebody and why this is not moral to somebody else.
so? Like if it's an ample topic, then we'll cover it. That's what we do here.
Because
Yeah.
really, this is just evolving into a rant. Not very productive. It needs something else. Like, it needs something a lot more. Like, how does this relate to Godzilla? Like, what's subjective morality in Godzilla? Like, talk about that.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, right? Because people are gonna say that it's not immoral for what Godzilla is doing, but people are dying regardless of this. So, bad news, fellas. I ended up getting that. Oh, never mind. Um, immoral. I already Neo's asked me to define immoral. I already defined it. Things that bring forth death, destruction, and just general, what's it called? The opposite of well-being, basically. On a physiological level, psychological. You could argue like, okay, what if that person deserves all these bad things? Okay, well, who are you? Okay, first of all, who are you to deter? Okay, what do we understand by okay? This is why it's a complicated subject. King of Candor in there. Get King of Candor. You know what? Sure, fine. I'll get him there.
Ooh.
Talking. Let me message him.
Let's see what happens.
This is a very ample topic. Okay, on the subject of someone deserving death, you could argue, what if that person
That's telling me
deserves?
talk.
There's the issue of forgiveness
Adventure
there.
begins.
Yeah, there's the issue of forgiveness, but then we're getting into like the theological at that point, and that would be a very difficult topic to
like,
discuss because not a
yeah.
lot of people, want to talk about that
This is
aspect.
like a very broad topic. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about.
Trying to keep it to just the observable and the measurable is going to be very difficult. Hello there.
Hi.
Oh, hello, King of Candor.
So,
Hi.
this was so important that I needed to be summoned here for.
Indeed.
Interrupting my forward arguing about it, boys.
You
Objective morality.
you bleeped out for a second. Yeah. So this guy in the video that we're watching is saying that there is no such thing as objective morality, that morality is like inherently subjective. And I was trying to prove that wrong because we can measure the results of what moral and immoral actions lead to. So and someone in chat is asking me to define immoral, and those definitions will vary from person to person. And what I'm saying is, first of all, that I did define them in the video No Sympathy for the Monsters, and the second thing is that just because they vary from person to person doesn't mean that the effects of moral or immoral actions are observable, and there is no definite definition of like a definitive definition of morality and immorality. There is a clear definition. It's distinguishable and it yields different results. So that's why we needed your help, because morality is a very complicated subject, and this is in regards to Godzilla destroying cities and everything.
It's all right. By the way, thank you, Alex Gomez, for welcoming me. And I'm going to say this just to help this whole conversation. Morality itself is actually subjective, technically, because the idea of what you find moral and immoral is based on what you raised at. What you're attempting to appeal to is a shared morality. So the idea, and the idea that we as a culture, we as a society, view certain things as wrong, and I'm gonna have to get a little bit spicy here. So, chap, you ready for this crap?
Ooh, the
So,
adventure begins.
well, no, it's just how do I put this without getting us kicked off YouTube? There's a certain group of people who live out in the desert who believe that you can have sex with 12-year-old girls. It's in their core book, and they're celebrating their prophet for waiting until she was 9 for banging one of the girls. That's in their core book. I'm not going to, get to details. However, here in the West, we find that the age of consent across the world is probably between 16 and 18, depending on which European nation and which Western nation. I'm comfortable saying 18, but some places say 16. Listen, if we even go back to 16, then that's still 5 years ahead of this other group of people who lives out in the desert. That is a subjective moral take right there of when it's okay to consummate a marriage, if you will. However, you would view that as objectively wrong because you know that it's a child. Everybody, I'm guaranteeing in this call, would view that as objectively wrong. However, it's not objective because our society we were raised in changes the moral outcome. You can try to appeal to something such as childhood and innocence lost or damages gained, but the counter argument is whenever you go through your basic adulthood rituals in that society is when you're viewed as an adult. Is it morally wrong for you to send a 12-year-old boy off to war? You'd probably say yes, because he's a child in our society. But what about if you went into Myanmar or another country where they go through adulthood rituals at 12? Judaism, not trying to throw any shade at them, the reason that you have your bar mitzvah and bat mitzvahs when the children are turned into a full adult at about 12 is because that's when they're viewed as adults. From that point on, culturally, legally, and objectively and moral, and even if you look at morally, they're adults in the Jewish consciousness. The only difference is we as, Americans have our age of morality set at 18. If you're going to argue morals, that's what you have to set firm foundational, frameworks with and explain why it is immoral, what they're doing, what moral system are you appealing to. It's very difficult to get into why is something wrong. The flip side of the coin is the most common moral thing that you can point to is there's a specific word for it, but basically it's how much does this hurt other people. This is a lot of what liberalism appeals to, and a lot of when people try to make comparisons in morality. That's why whenever you get to the idea of the trolley problem, the correct answer, by the way, yes, it is the correct answer, chat, is to kill one person to save 5, because you're going out and your 5 lives are going to be saved, even though one, and even if you count your own life as being ruined for killing people, 2. 2's lives are ruined for 5 to be saved is objectively morally better. The problem goes down to personal preferences and stuff. That's when it gets weird. So if I don't even know the context of what's going on here, I don't even know what's happening with this guy's arguments. But if you're trying to argue that, from Godzilla's perspective, that he needs to kill 1 million San Franciscans to save 1 billion people from Ghidorah, that is an objective good thing he had to do there. Even though it's horrible that he had to kill 1 million San Franciscans.
Okay, but then
that's
you
why
have to.
morality is so difficult.
But that's where the whole contention is, however, because there have been cases where these giant monsters, or at least characters from giant monster movies, have done their absolute best to remove themselves as well as the monsters they're fighting.
I think your mic just died, brother.
His mic just died.
Yeah. So the little bit I got out of that, you have to ask a question of when is it incumbent of the animal to decide that it needs to do things such as remove itself from a situation to be more hostile. If we think of Godzilla as the animal he clearly is, think about your dog. If your house is being robbed, your dog is not going to grab the robber, take him out in the front yard, and fight him there. Your dog is going to fight him the moment he gets the chance to. So what that's going to mean is instead of fighting him in the front yard where it's an easy cleanup and nobody else is hurt, he's going to fight him in your living room. He's going to probably kick off the toddlers, knock your teeth over. He's going to cause a whole bunch of more damage because his goal to protect you and do the right thing in his eyes is kill this dude immediately. That's why whenever you look at something like Dragon Ball or Superman, he's smart enough to know I could push them that direction. There's one situation in the Zack Snyder Superman where he throws Zod into an oil tanker. That's a bad thing because that oil tanker has got people inside of it and he's putting their lives at risk for a move he doesn't know will take down Zod, who's punched through buildings and gone through buildings. Superman is at a much higher level of intelligence and is held to a higher moral standard than the monsters are. And I really hate to come on your podcast for 10 minutes and just go against you. Yeah, but if you're trying to make arguments about this thing, that's the way you need to level the arguments of. Think about the monster. Think about what it's doing. Is it going out of its way to cause more destruction? Is there a scene where it's sitting there, it sees people running, and it just knocks over a building on top of them? Then yeah, that's that acting immorally and evilly. If it's just got like a straight on, I see enemy, I will kill enemy, and like it doesn't matter if a couple ants get crushed in the way, I'm going to save more ants by killing that guy. You could argue it is like not immoral, it's stupid, or maybe it's too harsh in its dealings, but that wouldn't make it fully immoral. Because it's still trying to do the right thing, the good thing, and all in all, the good thing would save more lives.
The thing here is, however, that Godzilla doesn't care about the ants in this scenario. He just sees a monster and he destroys it. With the dog analogy, that would make a lot more sense with Godzilla if he actually cared about humans. That's why the whole thing with Gamera works better with this argument, and Gamera, I would argue, is the more moral of the two, because at the very least, when he gets to the place that he needs to be, when he needs to fight a monster, he doesn't trample through the entire city just to get to that monster. He flies in, beats the monster. There is some collateral damage. People die, but he is held accountable for it. But at the very end of each fight, he flies away. All right. He always transports himself in. Transfers himself in such a way that doesn't kill as many people, unlike Godzilla. Now you could argue, well, Gamera can fly and Godzilla can't. Well, I mean, the Showa era pretty much debunked that. But anyway, so you could argue, well, okay, well, why doesn't Godzilla just lead? If he cares about humans, why doesn't he try and lead the monsters away from human civilization? The simple answer is he doesn't. From the Showa era all the way to the Reiwa era, which is where we are today, he doesn't. Whenever he is depicted as a hero, he still doesn't care enough about humanity to.
That's right. That's the problem that you're running into here. Godzilla doesn't do that because he's an animal. His goal is to stop this threat as quick as possible. To his eye, it's way more moral to have a few more humans die here, because if I stop Ghidorah here and I could take him out, he will never hurt humanity again. Versus if I attempt to lure him away, I risk him getting away. Here's a great example.
No, the result doesn't matter in this case. That's the problem.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't though. It's the intention behind the result. Here's a great example. What's the most evil person you could think of? And don't say your father or something. Say something like Hitler or something. Whoever the most evil person you could think of is. If I told you right now, you could kill him. You could just right out kill him. But you had to kill 4 children. Would you do that? But it would prevent all the evil they've ever done. If Satan himself was here, and I could say you could banish Satan to the great beyond, but you got to kill a dozen children. Would you do that? Is that worth it? Or would you spend time to try to talk Satan away? But right now, you could guarantee a kill on him. He's gone forever, but you have to kill 12 kids. Which one would you take as a moral thing? That's where morality comes into play. Godzilla says, yes, I'm taking the shot immediately because it is way more beneficial to whatever damage I can cause now will be repaired later on as long as I stop the threat from ever being a threat again. That's the moral thing that Godzilla is coming from. That's the issue here. He's an animal. He cannot think. He cannot go out of his way to logic through these things. You got to remember that even if he's a slightly smarter animal, like my dog can open doors and he understands certain words. I still wouldn't put him through a morality test and expect him to understand the implications of the trolley problem or things like that. That's what the problem that you have to run into here is. And that's one of the big conceits with Godzilla. And that's why you run into this issue so much when you're talking to other Godzilla YouTubers is, yeah, Godzilla did bad things, but it's his intelligence is in question. He's almost never depicted as smarter than a basic ape or a monkey. And they do not understand morality. They rape each other for fun. You got to understand, that's the level of intelligence Godzilla is probably at. They don't have enough empathy for others, to concern for others, to understand how it would feel. This is why if you look at stupid people, if you look at a lot of prison studies, prisoners and stupid people cannot understand how the actions they caused harmed others because they never considered how the harm would feel if it was done upon themselves. That's a big sign of when you deal with morality is empathy. Again, you can't apply it to Godzilla. He's not empathetic. He doesn't have the intelligence to be empathetic. Therefore, he can't really be as immoral or moral as you like to justify it as. You can still be more cruel. There's certain animals that are much more cruel in their actions, but I don't think that morality can apply to Godzilla because he really does try to, again, when he's not just destroying the city, but he really does try to stop the monsters, which in his eyes are a much bigger and more potent threat. You got me for the 2 minutes, so hit me up with any questions you have.
Yeah, the thing with Godzilla in particular, right? Okay, so the thing you mentioned that he's kind of like an animal. Okay, I can definitely see that. However, morality, good and evil, right? So should Godzilla not be held accountable because of that, or what?
He can't be. That's what I'm saying. You cannot hold Godzilla to account for an action he cannot take. Godzilla cannot choose to do a moral action because he has already stuck himself on this is what I'm doing. He just is doing the thing to save people. It's so simple and it's just frustrating, I know, to deal with, but you got to understand he's an animal.
Okay, as for like the other hypotheticals that you proposed, what sequence of events led to that situation, and could have that been avoided?
That doesn't matter, Rooney. Here's the thing you got to remember. This is
It
the
would be
problem when you
immoral
deal with
if it was. It would be immoral if I could avoid a situation where they had to kill 4 children to be able to kill Hitler. It would be immoral if I had a situation where I could stop that situation from leading up to that event, and I didn't stop it just to get to that point. It would be both illogical on my part and very immoral. So that's why I'm asking. Because the point I'm trying to make with
I
that
understand,
argument,
but I'm telling you that no matter what you did, it ended like this. This is where the situation ended up, and I know what you're trying to lead to. From what I've seen in the Godzilla films, he never does anything but goes and tries to stop the monsters immediately when they show up. It takes his ass a while. He has to walk there. The speed Godzilla arrives at places is fucked because the movies don't understand time and play in relative pace. But that's the movie's problem. That's not Godzilla as a character. His character is very consistent of I see threat, I kill threat, I protect things. Except for the handful of movies where Godzilla is a monster, where he just straight up kills everybody, like Godzilla -1 and the first Godzilla. But all the other Godzilla films, which you got to understand, you're dealing with, he's trying to do the right thing by stopping the monsters to save the most amount of lives.
wait, to stay. Okay, so the intent is the intent to save lives. Do we know? Because I'm pretty sure
That's
it
why he
isn't.
goes after them so fast. It's not just kill the monster. That's why he's always going after them as quick as he can. It's not just an animal protecting its territory, because he never fucks with guys before until they go after a city. Notice how he doesn't just go kill Mothra. Clearly,
Okay,
it's not Mothra's not a threat because Mothra's not trying to destroy the cities.
okay. Let's see. Let's put it this way. So in Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla decided to go to Pensacola because he sensed that Ghidorah's presence was there. At least that's the implication. However,
Sure.
he immediately starts wiping out people left and right using his atomic breath, attacking the military to get to Ghidorah, to the Ghidorah ghost or whatever the heck, the Ghidorah eye that I mean, he doesn't know that it's an eye, but he definitely senses Ghidorah there. Now you could argue, well, he senses a great evil that he banished beforehand. Okay, but did he need to destroy the military that was trying to get him away from civilization?
They were
Then the
attacking
next,
him. They were trying to stop him
they were trying to stop him from what?
getting to the eye.
Okay, no, I just said that he didn't know that it was an eye, but
He knows. Okay, he can sense the threat. He knows it's in that building. A whole bunch of people are trying to stop him from getting there. He's gonna say, "Get the fuck out of my way."
they were okay. Why were they trying to stop him? Because he was also attacking people. Okay, a fighter jet flew in, right? He immediately swatted it. Then more people started, and then he started blasting his atomic breath. And then when he
They
got to
were
the
coming at
area,
him. This is not Godzilla's first appearance. He's been attacked multiple times.
I can understand with like 2014, because at least with 2014 he
It's the
wasn't
same
actively
continuity.
okay, no, listen. With 2014, the difference between that scene and the scene in 2014 with the bridge is that Godzilla wasn't actively attacking the military. He wasn't.
No,
People
but they were
died, yes, but he
attacking
wasn't.
him.
They were attacking him, but Godzilla wasn't attacking them. So in this case, he made the more moral choice. People died incidentally. So at this point, Godzilla is in the. I wouldn't say he's in the right, but he's definitely more moral here than he did in Godzilla versus Kong, because yes, he was going after a threat in both scenes. However, how did he go about it in
Okay,
Godzilla
stop,
versus Kong
stop.
as opposed to
No,
2014?
you're doing this autistic thing. This is one thing I hate about fucking EFAP and all those guys. You have to understand the movies in totality. Godzilla was first of all attacked by the military in 2014. That lets him know the military is going to attack coming after me. They show up in 2016. It would be stupid of him to not assume that that he's going to be attacked by the military again. It happens all the time, dude. It's basic cause and effect. If anything, you should be praising the movies for him swatting at the military planes because it shows Godzilla remembers them. He's noticed though he's not going to residential districts and going out of his way to start shooting up schools. He's going straight towards where he thinks the threat is, and anybody who can be a threat to him along the way is going to be taken out. That's what you got to remember. I do have to go to work now. Just any last thoughts you want me to cover before I bounce? You got to remember that when you look at it from his perspective.
Well, the military isn't really much of a threat to him anyway. Think about it. Like, what are
How
guns?
did he know that?
What do you mean? How do you
Rooney,
know
have
that?
you ever
They
been
can't
stung
hurt
by a
him.
bee? Have you been stung by a bee?
Yeah.
Is it a threat to you?
No.
Did it kill you?
No.
How many? But if a bee swarm came out, you would just swat at them and try to get them away from you?
Okay, I see what you're doing here, but it doesn't actually hurt him. It cannot hurt him.
Oh,
A bee can
okay.
hurt me,
It
but
doesn't hurt him. Bullshit. It definitely hurts Godzilla. He takes damage and moves away. Just because it doesn't
Damage.
kill him.
damage.
Dude, he
Like,
gets
it's
knocked
visible
around and
damage.
shit.
Visible. Wait,
Yes.
what?
Whenever you look at Godzilla, why do you think his scales get scarred, darker, and he gets knocked around? If I put
His
you in a
scales
pinch
do
of
not get
pillow so
darker.
you're fluffed around, and I start throwing you around like a psychopath, even though you don't physically get bruised, you're gonna be all jostled up and disorientated, dude. Come on,
Disorientated,
that's
not
not
hurt.
even. But if you have a goal that's going to save everybody, and I keep going in there and just pushing you over, yeah, I'm not bruising you, but I'm stopping you from getting to your goal, which is going to save lives. Would you not swing at me? If I keep pushing you out of the way to prevent you from saving your girlfriend or your loved family member, they're about to get shot by somebody, and I just keep pushing you backwards. You'd punch me at some point, even though I'm not a threat to you and I'm not threatening your family, just to get me out of the way. And yeah, I know it's difficult because it's a giant lizard, but you got to abstract it into what is he doing? What is going on here? And what is actually happening? The military is not no threat to Godzilla. Sure, they can't kill him, but they can disable him. They could trip him up. They could probably put a net across his feet to cause him to trip, dude. He doesn't know what's going on with them. He doesn't know their capabilities. He knows that every time they show up, though, they attack him, they delay him, and they cause problems. And Satan himself is in that building over there, who he killed a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's turning back on. If anything, Godzilla should everything and get the hell out of my way. I need to go kill whatever that is. His actions actually do make perfect sense. It's still a garbage, but he still makes perfect sense. Yeah, like Sea Monster's essay says, when he gets hit by missiles, he doesn't react in the way they interpret it to be like, hey, cut that out. It's clearly having an effect on him. When an ant is crawling on your leg, you don't even feel the thing because it's so minor of an effect. But when a gnat goes right into your eyes, you feel that and you immediately start swinging at it. I do have to leave now. I'm sorry to leave on you without giving you a chance to rebuttal. Good luck with the morality thing. I'll try to be in chat answering what I can, but I got to head to work.
Go to work, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, sorry to argue against you, man, but just I'd rather you have the right argument than get unfortunately bothered by the wrong one. So have a good one, guys.
The point that I was trying to make in that situation was in that scene in Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla doesn't actually destroy the eye. He doesn't do anything with the eye. He just uses his atomic breath and starts blasting it at random. That's what he does. That's what I was trying to say before he left. He blasts that thing at random. If he could sense it, then I'm pretty sure he could pinpoint where he is. I mean, he managed to uncover it in that scene. He managed to melt off a specific part of the building that exposed it. So I'm pretty sure he would have seen it. There is absolutely no reason why he wouldn't have seen it, but he didn't destroy it. He just attacked things at random. There is absolutely no, and it's been established that he could pinpoint these things at any given point. So he still could have destroyed the eye, which is where the source of this the source of his anger comes from. But he attacks humanity. He attacks the people, and yes, they were trying to get in the way. But once they are out of the way, you would think, okay, I'm going to go directly into achieve the goal that I set out for myself. Okay, what is the goal? I have to destroy this thing that is emitting the presence of Ghidorah. Okay, we pushed the people, like how Candor described it. We pushed the people out of the way. We pushed it out of the way. Now I am at the other side, where my goal is here present and exposed, that I myself exposed it. So you would think that at that point he would blast the eye out of existence and destroy that thing where he was sensing Ghidorah's presence. But no, he doesn't do that. He keeps blasting things at random. He blasts humans away at random, even after they can no longer get in his way. Because all he has to do now is just aim for the eye, which is clearly within his view. The shot makes it very clear. All he has to do is take aim and fire. He doesn't even have to get near the eye anymore. All he has to do is just use his atomic breath and fire from then, because he already fired at that place anyway. All he had to do was just blast that thing and go back into the ocean to find the rest of the of Mechagodzilla's parts. Well, he doesn't know that they're, but yeah, that's all he would have to do. So why did he kill all those people now that he's out of the way? Like if there was like a hive of bees in front of me, and they were like angry bees, bees that are trying to kill me.
I remember once running away from a bunch of bees when I was like a child.
Yeah. If there was like a hive of bees that was angry at me, ready to attack me, and there was, I don't know, let's say a pie, a chocolate pie on the other side that I really, really want, but the bees are in the way, I would swat the bees out of the way, yes. But once I'm at the pie, I would run away with the pie. I achieved my goal, and I decided to engage with the bees as little as possible. I'm not gonna massacre the bees once they are out of the way. I'm not gonna massacre the bees, but that's exactly what Godzilla does in this scene. Not only does he not achieve his goal because he's stupid, he actively attacks the people that were in his way. He actively attacks the people that are in his way, which is the main point of the argument here. Is what I was trying to tell King of Kandor. And that is inherently, at that point, that is just malicious. That is immoral, which is my whole argument here. You could say, oh, if Godzilla, he's not. I'm not trying to sound facetious. Is that the right word? Facetious.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's the thing, right? At the end of the day, he not only does he not achieve his goal for whatever reason, he actively attacks people that can no longer get in the way of what he's trying to do. And that is my main point of contention here. And as for like the whole issue of like how we interpret morality to be subjective out of cultures, we can criticize those cultures precisely for those actions. We can take and extract different aspects of different cultures and analyze them, whether they are moral or immoral. Like, no matter how we were raised, we can definitely evolve our thinking to purify it in a way. We can definitely purify our morality, our ways of thinking, our way of viewing good and evil.
I feel like augment would be a better word.
What?
Augment? Like, this guy augmented his machine to run better or something like that.
Oh, augmented. You said augmented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Augmented. Yeah, like you can augment your thinking with like over time. That's definitely a thing that you can do. Which is why like I don't for a second agree that like good and evil like it's just subjective. Like not for a second ever. No. Cuz that would give people who I'm not even gonna name any names, but you probably know who I mean by now. You probably know who I mean. But I'm not gonna just accept that because it platforms evil being framed as a good. That's why I don't. That's why no. That's why I believe what it is I do. You can't just get away with something like that. Oh, let's continue with the video. I think we've had enough time to discuss this aspect.
Yes.
I didn't mean to ramble, but this needed to be said.
The thing
Good play.
I'm trying.
The thing with this definition of good and evil is that Godzilla doesn't exclusively fit either category. The good he does comes from him maintaining sentient life's existence, or at least preventing the majority of it from dying out. But this comes at a cost. The bad he does comes from the destruction he causes in an attempt to maintain sentient life's existence. What Black-Rooney didn't think about is what if something falls into both categories? Because what if the destruction of one thing makes way for something else and more of it? What if the
Okay, what does Godzilla destroying the entirety of not San Francisco, the entirety of Boston achieve? What does that achieve? It achieves
You could
radioactive
build a new
fallout.
parking lot.
It achieves radioactive fallout being spread throughout the city for generations to come. That city is completely uninhabitable. Now, like, what good is that? Oh, Ghidorah can't terraform the place into like what it is that he wants. Okay, and people are still going to die no matter what. Like these titans have destroyed cities, and they will continue to destroy cities. They will continue to destroy cities, intentional or not. The action in itself is inherently evil because it takes away of sentience life. And humans are sentient lives. So again, and then there's all the fights that he gets into in the graphic novels. Like what is the inherent? I mean, sure, yes, Ghidorah would have destroyed the planet and turned it into like Venus. That is true. That is true. I'm not going to deny that. But how is that different from what would be more beneficial to Godzilla anyway? If Godzilla were smart, now you could argue, okay, Godzilla isn't doing that then. Godzilla isn't doing that. Okay, he's just fighting these monsters that get into the city. But how many times can you do that? How many times can you keep doing that until humanity goes extinct? Incidentally, that's the thing. You can't keep doing that. That's not a sustainable method of getting rid of titans. Like, you have to at some point either have them move away from civilization, have Godzilla make them go leave civilization as they fight, or just double down and accept the fact that he's evil and just
I would play
do something about
the
it.
video a bit more, just because the logo on the screens looks bad.
Oh.
The destruction of one thing prevents the destruction of something else. What if the enrichment of one's life comes at the expense of someone else's? Morality is a
Wait, what is he implying with those flags? What is he implying?
Something about World War II.
The destruction of the Iron Cross, it leads to the destruction of the Jews, and he's framing that as like a good thing. I'm not going to say anything.
That is weird, actually, now that you point that out. I didn't notice that before. What do you mean by this?
I'm not going to say anything. I just want to know what his thought process is for that.
What did he mean by this?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that, to be honest. Play the video.
Matter of value and perspective, and that is always entirely subjective. Even by his own definition of good and evil, morally, Godzilla still falls in the good category.
Evil, however, seeks to destroy, not create.
Seeks to implies that that's the intent behind the act. Like I said before, the intent is not to destroy, it's to prevent destruction on a larger scale.
Okay, but again, he is still participant in the destruction no matter what. That is the whole issue here.
Yeah, it's like he's caring about the aftermath, not the during, so to speak. What's the correct term?
The aftermath of the...
Is it present? Or the action, the actual action of the act of destroying cities?
You could... I think that the best way to go about it is to just double down. Just double down on... Yeah, he is. Yes, he is this. Yes, he is that. the issue is that it goes unaddressed, but they should. I don't think there is a way to really justify his actions. I think the best choice is to double down and revel in it if you want to. Like for narrative purposes, of course, that would be a lot more preferable in this scenario. To Godzilla does not have intent to protect humanity. That's what I've been trying to say. Like Godzilla does not have intent to protect humanity. That's not his intent. So again, think about it. I want you all to like really think about it for a few seconds. Just to give you the Sea Monster says how many times argument is more to do with the post King of KOTM films not properly addressing the events in KOTM. Well, I'm speaking more in general. But although this also applies to the MonsterVerse, this also applies to like other versions as well. So it's not it applies less with the Showa era, but it applies more with every other version. The issue, at least with other versions, they're not going to try and guilt you into saying, "Oh, he is a necessary force." No, they're going to double down, which is, I would argue, a positive for those other versions. But like the Heisei era wants you to sympathize instead of doubling down. The Reiwa era wants you to sympathize instead of doubling down, and that's the main issue here. Like I don't think there is a way to properly sympathize with something like that. You just can't. People are dying.
No matter how hard Blackscreen tries to shove intent under the rug, it's always important.
I'd argue that Godzilla doesn't destroy things intentionally or is trying to destroy something intentionally, but to that, my answer is, number one, we are not looking for intent.
We? Who's we? There is no we.
Okay, this is good. This is a good meme. I will give him that. I feel like okay, that was. I'm just gonna take it as it is. I think this is just a joke.
You're not looking for intent. Most people.
Oh, okay. Never mind. No, it's not a joke. Okay, no, that was just me. What's the word? God, what's the word? When I say
I don't
we,
know the word.
Of course you don't. When I say we,
Railway?
God, what? I don't know what the word is, but the when I say we, I don't mean we as in like everyone. You know what I mean? Okay, I think he's overthinking this specific aspect, this specific sentence. I think he's looking too deep into this one sentence. But we, I don't. We in this analysis, in this particular analysis, if we were to analyze things this way, that's what one would do. And I think I don't know how to properly articulate this sentence, but I don't mean we how he thinks I mean we. I'm using we in a very different scenario.
People are smart enough to understand that intent is important.
Is the intent as important as the act itself? Maybe. But I know something even more important than either of those. It's a little something called result. The result being greater destruction prevented. This is
No, okay, see, here's the thing. Greater destruction is not prevented necessarily, now that I think about it, because Godzilla keeps attracting these other monsters. Think about it. And then says, we meaning you and the people who share your perspective. Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, no, actually, no, what I just said, no, take that, scratch that, no. That doesn't necessarily have to be his fault. Yeah, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be. He's not directly responsible for all the new monsters that, at least in the MonsterVerse. I don't know if I don't remember if other versions also fall into this category. I think. Yeah, no, actually, these other versions don't fall into this category. Okay, scratch that. That's wrong. Okay, never mind. I'm wrong about that. Moving on. Moving on.
Like the 5th time I've said that by now.
The result is also the deaths of hundreds of people, but it was inevitable considering the fact that Godzilla's opponents nearly always found themselves in the middle of the city. The question is not if people will die, but how many people will die, and Godzilla winning ensures the lower death toll. It's still a tragedy that those people died, but there was nothing anybody could have done about it. It is.
Yes, there was. There was definitely many. There are a lot of things. Okay, he says, nope, that's human morality applied to a monster. The way the script dictates the events is more relevant than some imaginary protective instinct from Godzilla. I don't know if I agree with that or not. I think I do. I'm not sure if I agree with that or not. I'm inclined to believe. Yeah, I was just pausing to read chat.
Is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Even if
Oh, okay, I remember my point now. I remember my point. So, is there anything anybody could have done about it? Yes, they could have used the military to direct Godzilla and the other monster away from the city. They could use the military to lure the monster away from the city. There's quite a lot of stuff you could have done. You could. Well, actually, there are many ways to help Godzilla direct the monster away from the city. Like there's like what? How many weapons does the military have at their disposal, barring the oxygen destroyer?
A lot. I feel like that's a lot. Like a lot.
Like the military is not just like 5 dudes. The military can launch its full might and use their sheer numbers to lure the monster away from the city and have Godzilla follow suit. There's quite a lot you could do to prevent deaths. You could evacuate early. That's one thing. That's another thing you could do. NNN says the screenplay saying that Godzilla actually caused a nuclear global holocaust wouldn't have changes his own personal system of morality because he's an animal who reacts on instinct. Okay, well, what I'm saying is like the deaths are inherently evil. Like the actual deaths, like that is like the fact that people die is an immoral thing. If you want to argue that Godzilla is not necessarily an immoral creature because of it, fine, I guess. But the act itself is inherently immoral. That the death of innocent human lives. You could make that. You could definitely. You can't. I don't think you could deny that if you wanted to. Like you really. I don't think you could. Realistically, I don't think you could.
If he tried luring his opponent out of the city, it would still inevitably get people killed. Emphasis on the try.
No, okay. It would get a lot. First of all, it would get even less people killed than what Godzilla's methods already were to begin with anyway. So it would be a lot more effective anyway. Secondly, I don't think so. I don't really think so. If you play your cards right, you can avoid as much death as possible. Just look at Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 is like the perfect example of this. Kaiju number 8. If you've seen Kaiju number 8, you know it's a good anime. You should watch it. They've gone to episode 12 till now, but yeah, you can. It is proof that you can. There is evidence of, like, maybe not necessarily in universe, but like theoretically speaking, you could. You could find ways to avoid as much death as possible. The chat has been monopoly. He barely has agency because the scale of his power transcends what humans are capable of. Which is why you need the military to unleash its full force to help him lead these things out of the city. That is like necessary. You need that.
Right, because it might not even work. Like, it's just the way it is. What I'm trying to get at here is that
Okay, that was clever. He did the thing that I did. That's clever. I will give him that. That is pretty clever. Yeah.
Tony's idea of good and bad is impossible to follow in any realistic setting.
Part of me thinks that this is entirely intentional, because after all, the entire point of the video is to convince the viewer that Godzilla is bad, which is entirely dependent on the version of the character that we're talking about.
Okay, I will give this. I should have defined with a lot more detail than this. I should have defined it with a lot more detail than this. But this is not like a criticism again of the movies themselves, or it is definitely a criticism of the character. But what I'm trying to say is, okay, this is the case. What are we to do about it? And like I said, my answer is just double down. Either acknowledge it and deal with it, or double down, like -1, for example, or not even -1, just 1954. Maybe not Shin, but yeah, there you got two options: either acknowledge it and hold him accountable. And I say hold him accountable. Kendra said it's not possible to hold him accountable, but but you could. When I say hold him accountable, what I mean is have there be consequences for the death and destruction that he causes. For example, humanity decides to erect walls or isolate itself away from the monsters as much as possible, or to have Godzilla just act like not actually, like, double down, like I said, actually cause as much. Well, see, we could see like the visible amount of destruction caused by the fights that Godzilla has, and when he leaves, the amount of destruction that is caused. Yeah, we could act like depict that. That is like possible. It's not impossible. You can do that.
And this gets me to the main problem with this video.
He talks about Godzilla in a very general way. He treats every Godzilla as the same, but you can't really do that with a character like this.
Godzilla can be a completely different character based on the movie you're watching. In some he's antagonistic, while in others he's more heroic.
And in some movies,
Heroic, quote unquote heroic. Heisei era Godzilla is not heroic. Showa era Godzilla, you could argue that he is heroic, but who's, I mean, they're like the only immediate danger is like the protagonists and Godzilla himself and all the good guy monsters. I mean, sure, you could argue, oh, they could destroy the world, and sure, yeah, that's definitely the case that could be made, and you would be correct in saying that. However, you could only do that with Showa era. You can't do that with the rest of the eras. If we were exclusively talking about the Showa era, then fine. But the majority of the eras of Godzilla fall under the same category of either A, malicious destructor, or B, anti-hero. A sympathetic anti-hero.
And they did lean
asks for your sympathy.
to anti-hero for the latest movie, didn't they? The Kong team-up movie.
Yeah, but I wouldn't argue that he is heroic. NNN in chat says Godzilla is heroic the same way an earthquake sending California into the Pacific would be heroic. Removing Californians from the face of the earth is an objective good. But it's an earthquake. Should probably think about that one.
movies he's somewhere in the middle.
Sometimes you root for him, sometimes you root against him.
I think the Heisei version is the most emblematic of this, as this guy plays both roles, sometimes in the same movie.
Oh, no. Okay, Heisei era has the exact same problem as the Monsterverse. It has the exact same problem as the Monsterverse. Precisely because of the things that he does. He attacks a city. Then another monster arrives. That monster attacks the city. Godzilla no like. So he kills the monster. And then destroys the city some more. And then he leaves. And then he repeats the cycle. And then I have to wonder, okay, well, if you're a territorial animal, or if you want the city destroyed, finish the job. And if you're not trying to destroy the city, and you're not trying to finish the job, why are you destroying the city even before the monster attacks? Why are you doing that?
You gotta save time for the giant monster.
Like he can't possibly be marking his territory because at this point his territory
Marking
is
his territory.
like his territory. How much marking of his territory does he need to do? Like, think about it. How many times does an animal need to mark his territory before other animals realizes, oh, this is this animal's territory? Not that many times. Not that I would argue. Not that not that many times would be required to mark his territory. And then the humans don't actually like finish the job either. So like, Godzilla versus Godzilla versus Biollante wouldn't have happened if they killed Godzilla when they had the chance. I don't remember how Space Godzilla came to be, but I don't think Space Godzilla would have even been considered a Space Godzilla if Godzilla didn't exist and they killed him when they had the chance. So yeah, like, I don't know.
The answer to the question of is Godzilla bad can vary wildly in between versions. Some versions intensely destroy, some might save the world from foreign threats, and some might do both. And when he does both, you're gonna have to weigh the good and bad he does to see if he is good or bad. Or if he's just the lesser of two evils. Again, value and perspective plays a role in this.
Okay, the lesser of two evils will always be to get rid of every single monster. That will always be the least evil thing you could do. And that is always going to be a possibility in these things. The writing, however, doesn't allow that because we need Godzilla to be like a force of balance or whatever. The writing will mold itself into such a way that it achieves this clunkily, but you know, it tries. It definitely does try. But yeah, no. The least evil thing you could do is find ways to kill every single monster, including Godzilla, because at least there will be no more destruction from these monsters. That will all end that. And again, in the MonsterVerse, do you know who created the oxygen destroyer? The military. It wasn't Monarch. It wasn't some special scientific anything. It was just the military. Just the military, with their monies, their fundings, and whatnot, and what have you. It was them. Now that Federico says, now that I think about it, if Godzilla is an animal, then why does he not behave like an actual animal to begin with? I would argue that he kind of does. It just depends on what animal you're referring to. Everyone in chat, go tell Lord Lodge to get King of Kandor on their podcast. I don't know who that is. The Lore Lodge, I mean, I don't know.
I gotta promote.
But sure.
And the sympathy you can feel for him. Not every version of Godzilla is sympathetic, and not every unsympathetic Godzilla is unsympathetic for the same reasons. If you were to ask me what versions of the character I find most sympathetic, I'd say Shin and Zilla.
Okay. So recently I have been enlightened to the true nature of Shin Godzilla. And the reason why this doesn't work with Shin Godzilla, it's not only because of the destruction that he causes, but also because the song, first of all, the song Who Will Know, this is something that Z Anima said, and I'm pretty much just repeating what he's saying. The song is essentially just telling you what he's like outright. It is just explicit with it. Again, like the song itself, I really, really like it, but I understand where he's coming from. Like, you wouldn't have known what his motives are unless that song really told you what it was. If the song Who Will Know wasn't playing in that scene, then you wouldn't have known what Godzilla's motivations are, or like whether he's supposed to be sympathetic or not. If a completely different track was playing, like Footsteps of Doom from Attack on Titan, or An Ordinary Day also from Attack on Titan, by the way, those are like the best songs of Attack on Titan, don't at me, then like the tone and the interpretation would be completely different. So that would be a non-diegetic aspect of the film manipulating the diegetic elements of the film, which is cheap. It's very cheap. But he is right. Zilla is definitely more sympathetic. He's wrong about Shin, but he's right about Zilla. Like, as opposed to like the narrative itself not explaining either subtly or not how Godzilla's sympathetic. It's the non-diegetic element that's telling you how to feel, as opposed to just coming to that conclusion yourself, which is, I don't know if that's a problem with the writing or like the production of the movie or what, but I'm gonna have to like ask C Animus about that. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. Anyway, let's continue.
Because when you look at the actions, it's clear that these two are just confused animals. Animals that were unwillingly mutated into something too strong, too heavy, and too tall. But then again, this doesn't apply to others because their sympathy relies completely on the level of awareness and origin story. Something that doesn't apply to every iteration. Both Monsterverse and -1 are unsympathetic, but again for completely different reasons. -1 is unsympathetic because he's very clearly intensely destructive. Monsterverse Godzilla is unsympathetic because in the grand scheme of things, nothing really bad happens to him, so there is no reason to feel sympathy.
Again, you
Okay, I suppose that's true. I suppose that is true. However, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. Whether they are sympathetic for different reasons, which, I mean, I don't really know how you can sympathize with thousands of people dying, but does it really matter? And does it, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter why these versions of the character are sympathetic for different reasons? Really think about it. Like, does that matter? I don't really think that matters to the point. Maybe if he expands on that.
You can't generalize Godzilla because he's such a varied character.
Like Rooney keeps asking the viewer if they would feel sympathy for something that killed their loved one, but he doesn't give the viewer a solid reason to. The context he gives.
What? Okay, no, hold on. No.
Completely different reasons. -1 is unsympathetic because he's very clearly intensely destructive. Monsterverse Godzilla is unsympathetic because in the grand scheme of things, nothing really bad happens to him, so there is no reason to feel sympathy.
Again, you can't generalize Godzilla because he's such a varied character.
Like Rooney keeps asking the viewer if they would feel sympathy for something that killed their loved one, but he doesn't give the viewer a solid reason to. The context he gives is so...
What? Okay, why would I need a reason to have a family member, someone feel sympathy for someone who's lost a family member? That is the reason. Or, like, do you love your family or not? Why would that not be good enough of a justification? If okay, I'm using an appeal to emotion. Obviously, yeah, like, it's pretty clear what I'm doing here. Appeal to emotion. Wouldn't your love for your family be enough of a justification? Because I'm making a mental exercise to put yourself in the shoes of someone in that situation. Would you feel sympathy for those people that lost their families? Okay, you would. The reason why you would is because you are putting yourself in the shoes of the people who lost their families. That is just basic sympathy. What? Sea Monster says Godzilla nearly dying several times in the Monsterverse when the world is at stake of being raised is something worse. Once in 2014, twice in King of the Monsters, and once in GVK wouldn't make him even a tad bit sympathetic. I mean, that would entirely depend on the result, but also just how much we connect with Godzilla on an emotional level. The thing, however, is that as a character, Godzilla is somewhat flat, at least in the movies. So it would be kind of hard to sympathize with him. I mean, because why would we? Okay, we sympathize with him because what? He's about to die and sad music plays while he's about to die. I mean, think about it. Is playing sad music and framing the scene in a sad light, is that enough, or is there like something in the movie there that can tell us why we should feel any sympathy? At least with Godzilla 98, there is something. At least with 98, there is something there. You could make that argument. You know, as bad as 98 is, easily one of the worst Godzilla movies, to the point where I wouldn't even consider it a Godzilla movie. Yeah, sad music, please cry. Yeah, no.
It's so vague that you can't really make proper judgment, and at that point you're just making assumption after assumption. For Godzilla,
No, I'm pretty clear on what I'm saying. I'm not making any assumptions. I'm pretty clear on what I'm saying. I mean, think about it. Like, of course, again, I go more into detail with the streams, but again, like, I expect them to watch it, but at the same time, I also don't expect them to watch the streams, which is why I have the black screen bites specifically for this reason. So
yeah,
and clips from Zimzilla streams as well. I have those. So yeah.
what Blackscreen describes in this video is ultimately a Godzilla that doesn't exist.
A total fabrication.
A Godzilla to which he can add and remove whatever context he needs to convey the point he's trying to make.
That point leading to an opinion with an unrealistic moral standard. Like I said at the start, this video is incredibly disingenuous.
I think we've pretty reasonable. We've provided reasonable evidence as to why that is not the case. Would you say that, Astro, or no?
I would say it's pretty reasonable of what you've given out.
Are you saying that, or just, do you actually mean that?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
So what do you think? Do you think I've proven myself or no? Did I succeed or no? Also, good music choice on his part. Based Sonic CD OST enjoyer. Hey, Black Rooney, I have a question. What if Toho made a Godzilla movie who's after an event becomes sapient like human and become traumatized after remembering all the humans that he kills and hates himself for it? That could be interesting. I would definitely watch that movie. A Godzilla that feels guilty over the lives that it takes. I mean, that would be the film acknowledging it, and that would be an improvement. That would definitely be an improvement over what we have. Hey, come on, chat, though. Be honest. Did I prove myself or no? Be honest.
That will decide your fate.
The chat will decide my fate. Sea Monster says, less to do with sad music, but more to do with the context of what would happen if the Mutas or Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla were to kill Godzilla in those respective films. I mean, those would be the results, sure, like, I guess. But at the same time, like, what has Godzilla done up until this point, like, when he's about to die in each of these scenes to really make us root for him? Like, what does he want? Why does he want it? Stuff like that. That's what I mean when he says he's like a flat character. His motivations are somewhat vague. Like, yeah, it's to protect nature. It's to bring balance, but what does that mean exactly? What does that mean objectively? What are the details? That's what we need. We need details. It's the main issue. I wasn't able to watch the whole video, so I can't say for certain, but I think the clip I saw you did pretty all right. I hope so. I hope I like the more correct I am, like, the better it is for me, because like the closer I am to truth, the better. So bring balance. Yeah, I never understood that. Because from what I've seen, all Godzilla has been doing is tipping the balance in the favor of him and his Titan. So he doesn't really keep humanity in mind at all. Let's keep going.
The lack of context for one, but also just the phenomenal misunderstanding of anybody with a different opinion. For example, he thinks the reason why people root for Godzilla is because he gets people killed and because people hate humanity as a whole. Which, like
is that the reason?
Like half of the...
I think he's referring to my point of environmentalism, in which I bring up that Greta Thunberg post, that Greta Thunberg clip. I don't think most people believe that, and I've never alluded to that. I was mainly referring to characters like Miki Segusa and Emma Russell. I wasn't referring to anybody in the fandom in particular, so he got that part wrong as well. So I don't know why he would bring that up. I wasn't referring to like anybody in the fandom in particular, and I don't think I ever said this in this video that the reason I think people root for Godzilla is because people hate humanity. At least in the fandom. I never mentioned anybody about the fandom. I mentioned like in characters like Miki Segusa, and I didn't mention Miki Segusa in the video, but I did mention Emma Russell, and I think that was more than enough because I think more people would be I thought more people would be more familiar with Emma than Miki. I don't think a lot of people were going to remember Miki. However, like the counter argument could be made, like, oh well, he should have done it anyway. Yeah, I probably should have. Yeah, I definitely should have included Miki. I included her in other videos, though, to bolster that point in retrospect. But taking the video for what it is, I probably should have done that. But I think Emma Russell was pretty good enough of an example, especially because she's like the worst of the two. She's a worse character than Miki, like arguably, because at least Miki doesn't do anything. I mean, well, she does things. But a lot of the things are not as consequential as the stuff that Emma Russell does. They are consequential. It's just that in terms of like overall consequence and overall results and impact on the world, not just like Japan, like isolated to a single country, Emma is more consequential because what she did affected the entire world, whereas what Miki did affects Japan specifically. So that's what I mean when I say that Emma is more consequential. I gotta bounce. See you later. Oh, bye, Sea Monster. I'll see you. Catch you later. See you in the King of the Monsters debate. Let's keep going.
Time it's in humanity's favor for Godzilla to win. For me, this video is just filled with shit nobody is arguing or shit nobody would argue with.
I could go on and on about this video, but I think I've said enough, so we're moving on.
Okay, again, like this isn't something I'm arguing against the fan base. I'm arguing against people within the world that would believe that. Well, I am arguing against both the fandom and the characters in the MonsterVerse who think that Godzilla is like a force for balance. I'm arguing for both, but I don't necessarily think that people hate humanity in the fandom. I don't think that at all. I don't think that. No, that's not it at all. Do I believe that a lot of environmentalists that hate humanity and would prefer nature over humanity? I definitely do believe that there are a lot of people that do that, and it's a problem. But I don't think the MonsterVerse fans, or at least Godzilla fans in general, really fall into this category. No, I don't think that whatsoever. No.
Well, Rooney,
Alright, what's next?
What?
I think I do, Rooney. I do think I have to go now. I do hope you have a great rest of the stream.
Okay. Thank you for the input provided thus far.
Yes.
Oh God,
have
my
a great.
throat.
Yep. Have a great night.
6 p.m. But sure. Good night. Just me. By law of averages, there is at least one Misanthrope G fan. Yeah. I mean, realistically, there would be at least one, but I don't necessarily think that the entire fandom falls into this category. Like that would be disingenuous to assume. I don't believe that. I really don't. I don't know why he says that. Let's keep going. Oh, this one. Writing. Oh, this one. Okay. What do I keep getting pinged? Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay.
Strong statement. Hope the arguments behind it are good.
As the very blunt title suggests, Blackscreen calls most Godzilla movies bad. Some better than others, but better doesn't automatically mean good. The main overarching argument he uses is logic. That as long as a movie is logical in the story it's trying to tell, that it will be a good movie, which is something that I agree with. Blackscreen gives some examples to what he considers logical stories, and it all seems well and dandy.
Never mind the fact how bold of a move it is to announce an entire 30-movie franchise with criticism that might not fit every movie, but whatever.
But here's the thing. He doesn't give a singular example of a Godzilla movie that doesn't have this logic of his. Think about that for a second. What he's essentially doing here is he tells a fanbase that probably won't like him that their favorite movie sucked, doesn't explain why, and just says, yeah, go figure.
This
Okay. You know what? He's right about this. I don't elaborate on this. I do in later videos, but the reason why I didn't in this one is mainly because I did that as sort of introductory statement for, like, okay, these are my beliefs, and I'm going to justify them, but I'm going to justify them in different videos. And the idea was to make that Godzilla vs. Kong video. I was basically going to do that, but I never had the opportunity to do that. I never actually found like a good enough opportunity to do that. And now I'm leaving in like less than 2 weeks, like 2 weeks or less, and I'm not going to be able to make my Godzilla vs. Kong video, so I can't really prove this statement. However, my Kate Randa video served as a way to really a preamble to the preamble, if you will, but that was mostly due to things outside of my control. So I do agree that this is a problem, and I do like empathize with this sentiment. So I'm going to give him that point. He is correct about that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That was a yeah. I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat it. This was yeah. I will say this. I do have a video in the what's it called in my not Discord, on my Patreon. I have the Godzilla vs. Kong video in my Patreon. However, I wouldn't recommend it because it's just really, really poorly made on a technical level. On a technical level, it's just really, really badly made. However, it does exist. The video, it does exist. I mean, yeah, I'm paying you, like pay me to watch a really badly made piece of. It's probably like the worst possible sales pitch you can think of. At least I like put it like for $1, but I'm not gonna. I'm very ashamed of that video because it was just so structured, like on a technical level, it was just so poorly done, and like very little effort was placed into that. So like I don't. Well, I mean, I placed a lot of effort, but not enough to make it look and sound good. So yeah, the video does exist, but I can understand his yeah, and I agree. That's a point that I will levy against myself. Let's keep going.
This doesn't strike me as a particularly logical way to go about it. He never elaborates on this whole logic thing, so for all intents and purposes, it's completely pointless.
The examples he gives are examples of character motivation, but then even still, it's vague and unclear to which Godzilla movies lack this. Isn't that the point of a video like this? To make yourself clear and to get people to understand where you're coming from?
Yeah, again, I get it. I understand it. I understand that. I and once again, I guess you could levy the point in my favor that okay, well, probably the intention was that other videos were going to do that. Okay, then why did you make this video? Why did you make this video then? Good question. I can't really answer that. Again, like a preamble to the rest of my points. Okay, why didn't you make the other video to begin with? I mean, I did. It was just very, very badly made. So I had to like undo that, and I just had to undo that and start over, but I'm not going to have that ready in a timely manner. So yeah. I understand. I definitely understand. I understand his contention.
This entire video just ping-pongs from criticism to criticism without much of any support behind it.
Like, nothing goes anywhere.
He gives the Millennium films flack for having very little to do with each other, even though most films aren't even connected, so it's a moot point when it was very clearly not the intent. He gives no criticism of the Heisei films, and he compares the total shift of the Showa series to making a comedy about 9/11 or the Holocaust.
The original Godzilla is a metaphor for atomic bombs in the Japanese civilian experience of World War II as a whole, but where the atomic bombings had the positive of being one of the two facts that got Japan to surrender, neither the Holocaust or 9/11 have any real upside to them. So I think it's a very poor comparison to make. Are the later...
Wait. Hold on, go back.
He gives the Millennium films flack for having very little to do with each other, even though most films aren't even connected, so it's a moot point when it was very clearly not the intent.
Okay, wait, it was not intentional to have the films be connected with each other? Like, it was intended to be sort of anthological? Was that always the intention? Because if that was always the intention, then yeah, sure, you'd be right. But I didn't really. Was it always intentional? Hey, chat, I have a question. Was the Millennium series being not connected with each other an intentional thing, or was it just incidental? Was it just incidental? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. But as for like the Holocaust and World War II, I think I already made that point though. I think I already made that point.
He gives no criticism of the Heisei films, and he compares the total shift of the Showa series to making a comedy about 9/11 or the Holocaust.
The original Godzilla is a metaphor for atomic bombs in the Japanese civilian experience of World War II as a whole, but where the atomic bombings had the positive of being one of the two facts that got Japan to surrender, neither the Holocaust or 9/11 have any real upside to them. So I think it's a very poor comparison to make. Are the later...
Okay, I was kind of comparing them the two as like a general, okay, this is a disaster that befell humanity. This is a disaster that negatively affected humanity. As opposed to just... But is that wrong though? Let me listen to that again.
Criticism of the Heisei films, and he compares the total shift of the Showa series to making a comedy about 9/11 or the Holocaust.
The original Godzilla is a metaphor for atomic bombs in the Japanese civilian experience of World War II as a whole, but where the atomic bombings had the positive of being one of the two facts that got Japan to surrender, neither the Holocaust or 9/11 have any real upside to them. So I think it's a very poor comparison to make.
Okay, I can understand like the nuclear bombing's fine, but it says did it though? Nen says did it though? I'm not a history guy, all right? I'm not like a history nerd. I'm not entirely well versed in that subject. King of Candor definitely is. He could probably tell you, but he's working right now, so. Again, like the comparison with 9/11 yielded no positive results, and Godzilla yielding positive results. Okay. The positive results for Godzilla, quote unquote, saving the world. If he fights if he's not fighting in a city like in the Showa era, then fine. But more often than not, he does, and that's the crux of my argument here. The positives. More destruction is from a foreign monster is prevented. The negatives: cities are destroyed, people are dead, radiation is spread everywhere, and segments of entire cities are uninhabitable for centuries to come. I don't think that's a positive. In fact, those are more negatives than... And even then, the resulting radiation fallout is going to kill more people incidentally anyway. So... like if you really think about it, more destruction is not really all that preventable if you're a radioactive monster. Even like with the atomic breath being a radioactive heat ray, that's why it's called atomic breath. It's radioactive inherently. So if Godzilla uses atomic breath at any capacity, any area by which he uses his atomic breath will be rendered radioactive and uninhabitable. So how is that a positive necessarily? Think about it. Let's keep going.
Are the later Showa era movies disrespectful? I mean, I guess.
But when only one of the guys behind the originals seemed bothered by the tonal shift, it's very clear that very few people still gave a shit.
This video...
Okay, just because people don't care doesn't make it any more of a good thing. Just think about it. Just because nobody cares, it's like the whole issue of it's not there, therefore it doesn't bother me. That argument, like all over again. It doesn't matter. It is a problem and that exists, independent to how anybody may feel about these movies. Independent to how anybody may feel, those problems are things that exist, and I am detailing the fact that they exist. That is all that I'm doing. Whether other people care or not is irrelevant. I don't care what other people. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm detailing what is and what isn't. If you're going to detail something, then detail to me another thing that is that I might have missed, or another thing that also is. Don't detail me. Just detail me that, because that's all I care about. The facts. The information present. Looks like chat is not chatting. Okay, let's keep going.
Like the previous one is incredibly vague.
When you have an opinion that is as inflammatory as this one, it is tantamount you actually make yourself clear and that people get what you're saying. Blackaroonie is under the impression that people will just get him, but dude, get real, nobody does. And it ultimately makes his video incredibly unconvincing.
One might argue it's not exactly fair to criticize somebody's first proper video.
I mean, he said himself that this video is due for a remake. But then again, he said it more than a year ago and his mentality hasn't changed one bit, so tough shit.
Alright.
And? What could, like, the... my most recent video is what you would consider... I consider that technically a remake. I technically consider that a well, no. Actually, no. That's a... It's been a year and I haven't remade that video. I've been busy, and my position hasn't changed. No, because the thing that I had to change were specific details, not the whole thing. If I wanted to amplify my argument, that's what I would do. Why would that ever like change my position? Why would detailing everything wrong, everything that needs ironing out, why would detailing everything that needs ironing out change my position? Why would that happen? Why would that ever happen? Continuing on.
Last video, come on. Demand better.
Yeah, I'll be demanding better fucking videos.
I am Blackaroonie, your local zoomer asshole with an autistic affinity for the alpine amphibian.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yes, Godzilla's technically amphibious.
How can you be so confident yet so wrong at the same time?
Okay, I should have detailed this better, but this is a joke, Semi. It's a bad joke. Yeah, I've been called out for this joke, and yeah, it's a pretty bad joke, but it was a joke. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. So, yeah, I emphasized by like the nerd emoji. And I mean, if we're looking at like the very definition of amphibious outside of like a biological context, Godzilla lives in both land and water. Well, lives, but he can go on land and water. That technically makes him amphibious by nature. So, land and water can if we're looking at that definition of amphibious, because there are like multiple definitions of amphibious. If we look at Marines, for example, like U.S. Marines, they're an amphibious force technically, because they can come in from the land or from the sea. They are trained to survive in like land and sea environments. So if we're operating under that definition of amphibious, then you could also make a reasonable assumption that he is. However, But you know, this is just a minor nitpick. This doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I don't really know why I felt the need to justify it.
Like it's a Google search away, my guy. This is dreadful. This is absolutely fucking dreadful.
Again, nitpick. This is nitpick. Okay? Come on. Come on. Oh,
This might seem like nitpicking, but there is generally nothing of substance to this video.
Godzilla
is he saying that before or... Oh, wait, no, never mind. Screw me. No, don't listen to me.
-1 hit theaters on December 1st, and it was an instant smash hit. I watched it first opening weekend, and let's just say, clean up on aisle 7K, if you know what I mean. Monarch breaks continuity several times, shoehorns in characters and events in which they don't belong.
It really wasn't shoehorned in. There were plenty of buses on that bridge.
Okay, I detailed this in a previous video. They absolutely were shoehorned in. Kate Randa was shoehorned in into 2014 precisely because of the scene ultimately altering itself just to introduce her very existence. I made an entire video about that. You can watch that. That video actually exists. So I can prove that. I can prove that beyond a reasonable doubt that it's there. You can watch it. Let's see the comments. Let's see chat. Chat is okay, moving on.
Has unlikable characters played by charmless actors, save for the big names like Wyatt and Kurt Russell.
I don't know, Tim was pretty charming.
Who?
Bruh.
And overall, the only...
Okay, you know what? I'll give him that. I'll actually give him that. That was funny. I'll give him that.
redeeming quality is Godzilla, and even then they can't keep him consistent to its in-universe predecessor.
Okay, before he makes this point, I want to emphasize that the reason why this is a problem is because the original scene was... Okay, the reason why this is a problem is because the original scene in 2014 was used a bomb to try and kill Godzilla, right? That was the intention. These people, there were people that were seated far away from the bomb that could be able to see it from a distance with binoculars and whatnot and what have you, and they were at a safe distance. In Monarch, however, this is a problem because there were characters, vital characters to the story, that were placed close to the bomb that should have died. That scene only exists to bolster a character moment, but the character moment doesn't work mechanically if all the characters there should be dead, because they're closer to the bomb than they should be. And if those people are dead, how are they going to ever come back to record their findings? Like that Godzilla is presumed dead, and then he actually is alive. But if they're dead, if they are dead, they can't push the rest of the story and that aspect of the lore forward. So that is ultimately consequential, which is why it's so bad that scene got retconned into and recontextualized this what it is now. You can't have that. You can't have Emiko Randa, I think that's her name, and Shaw and Bill Randa in that same scene. You can't have them. You can't have them all there, or anyone there for that matter. You can't have them there. In the continuity of the Monsterverse, it breaks vital things. You can't have them there.
This is so fucking pedantic. This has zero story impact. It really doesn't matter if he was standing up or swimming.
And then we have the trailer for Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Look at this. This is not a real movie. This is not a real movie.
Stage 1 of grief. Denial. I think it's really funny how he's perfectly fine with aliens that look exactly like humans and can just fly, but when a monster walks funny, he gets a heart attack.
-1 was a wake-up call telling us to ask...
Okay. The difference between that, however, is that their powers and what they're able to do are kept relatively consistent versus Godzilla, whose powers and abilities to like run and physics, all of that is kept very inconsistent throughout the movies. I mean, at one point Godzilla's like too heavy to like even stand because he's too tired. Then he just moves slowly. He moves realistically. He moves like there's actual weight and power to his moves. And then Godzilla loses that over time and then just becomes a cartoon. Obviously. So obviously that's a very, very false comparison. Like that's like a false dichotomy. That's not you can't just do that. That's no.
For better movies. Don't you want good movies?
Yeah!
Don't you want monster movies to be taken as seriously and be praised as -1 was? Do you not feel enriched from watching -1? Do you not feel like your life and outlook on it has been improved?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, shit was good, but it wasn't life-changing.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. It wasn't life-changing, fair enough. But the whole point I'm trying to make is, don't you want movies to be praised as -1 was? And when I say taken as seriously, I mean taken as seriously by other people. People that usually wouldn't take movies like this seriously. Like they would take it seriously enough to judge it by its own merits as opposed to just how much monster fights there were. That's what I mean by taken seriously. I want to clarify that.
Did it not provide not just a good spectacle, but a deep story worth examining? Are you not entertained?
Yeah, I was entertained. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who wasn't.
Well, why can't we have a dumb spectacle too?
Okay, this was me referencing the people that just hate, like just don't care at all and just want like a dumb spectacle, which is inherently useless. There's not a lot of use to creating a dumb spectacle. You can have your spectacle if you want, but why do you need it to be dumb? Why is that a requirement? Is what I'm saying. Those are comments that I've seen in my other videos as well as in like social media in general. If you've seen it, then he would know. But yeah, that's what that is. That's what that is. Criticism against that particular point that I've seen many times. So yeah, I don't know if he's seen that or not, but yeah. No. Let's continue.
Comments only work when I can actually understand them, right?
Why should we have a stupid monster movie? Why? For what purpose?
Because it's fun.
What
Okay, well, why can't we have a good fun movie? Or are you going to tell me that -1 wasn't fun? You're telling me it's impossible to have a fun movie that is also good? Why there is no inherent, like, the only reason I would want a bad movie is to demonstrate how not to do a movie. That's the only purpose a bad movie would serve. How not to make that movie. The fun is separate from its quality, but you could still make a good movie and still have it be fun. Those are not mutually exclusive.
makes a stupid variety just as good by an objective standard as the smarter movies?
Nothing really, but then again, there's nothing that makes a smart movie better than a dumb one.
What? What? There's nothing that makes a smart movie better than a dumb one. Let that sink in, chat. Let that sink in. Let that marinate in your mind. Let that marinate in your mind. What makes a smarter movie better than a dumb one inherently? Maybe it could be like the plot, the character writing. Define dumb. Badly written, for example. Like so badly written that it's just absolutely insane how stupid the writing is. From a plot level, world building, character writing, all of it. That's what dumb means. What makes it dumb and bad can what makes it dumb and bad can be dumb and wait. You mind rewriting that? Do you mind rewriting that? That was just a jumble of words. If there needs punctuation there, then probably include that. I don't know. Rewrite that comment. We're almost done. We're almost done with the video. We're we need like 4 more minutes. What makes it dumb and bad can be dumb and... What are you trying to say here? What makes it dumb and bad versus dumb and good? Being dumb is not inherently good. Because if we mean dumb, like a lot of people, sometimes people use dumb in 2 ways at once. Where they say it's dumb because it's fantastical and it can't happen in real life, but also it's dumb because the writing is dumb. A lot of people use those 2 words simultaneously. Use 2 definitions simultaneously, and it's very, very confusing. I don't think that should be the case. I don't think that should be done. Because it really muddles up the discussion and makes it hard to follow. So, when I say dumb, I mean like badly written. You can make it well written and still be fun. That's what I'm trying to say here.
more just you watches these movies, and you are the minority. It's just that you're very loud and obnoxious.
This guy has zero fucking self-awareness. Jesus Christ.
Loud. He says loud as if, like, yes, I'm loud. Said zero self-awareness. Yeah. Ad hom. I don't know. This is not an ad hom. No. Dumb because fun and fun because dumb. Again, like, good can be fun. I'm just saying.
By allowing both, we allow mediocrity, and suddenly there's no distinction between a movie like Shin and a movie like King of the Monsters.
I'm pretty sure people have the ability to like something more than something else. And
It's not about liking it. It's about acknowledging the overall quality of the writing. It's not about liking it. I don't care if people like it or not. You shouldn't care if I like it or not. I mean, it's pretty obvious that I hate not King of the Monsters, GVK. I think it's pretty obvious. You know that I hate it. I've made it abundantly clear over time. But like, dude. So a silly concept can be dumb but still have a good, engaging narrative. Yes, exactly. And I can tell that this guy's like almost there. Like he's almost there, but he just misses the mark. But he's there. I can tell that he's almost there. No way Blackaroonie thinks 98 is one of the worst Godzilla movies. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it as much as other Godzilla movies, but it definitely, like, the writing it does not hold up. Let's continue.
I'm pretty confident that nobody likes King of the Monsters for the exact same reasons as Shin Godzilla.
It's not true.
What? People don't like King of the Monsters for the exact same reasons as Shin Godzilla. No, people love King of the Monsters and Shin Godzilla. I've seen nothing but love for King of the Monsters. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it just has to do like the circles I'm like the fan bases, like, well, not the fan base, but like the Godzilla circles that I have seen. But a lot of the time you will see people praise King of the Monsters quite a bit. I have seen quite a bit of praise from King of the Monsters. And over time, like, the quality of Shin Godzilla is being placed into question, but even still, I don't know if someone like C Animus would agree, but I think on a structural writing level, Shin Godzilla is more coherent. I'd have to give Shin a proper analysis because I already did a proper analysis of King of the Monsters, but to really put it up to scale, I'd have to rewatch Shin again. But yeah.
True. It's just not true.
Godzilla vs. Kong irreparably broke the Monsterverse, as if King of the Monsters didn't already break it enough. And knowing Wingard, I think he's gonna finish destroying the whole damn thing.
And I was right. I was right about that. He broke the Monsterverse again with Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. He did it. Maybe not as much to the degree of as GVK, but he still did it, and I was right about that. I have a bunch of streams dedicated to GXK detailing this. So yeah, like, I don't know what he's talking about. I clearly, again, like, I don't expect him to watch the streams, but I also kind of do. So, like, I don't know. I think I did a pretty good job at detailing all the plot holes and inconsistencies with GXK. So, and GVK in particular. Again, that video is coming in a couple of years. I'm sorry. It's just life happens, okay? Life happens. I'm not gonna be active for like quite a while. So this is like the penultimate stream for like black screen stream.
Definition of insanity is doing the exact same shit over and over again, expecting shit to change.
The reason why the Monsterverse side is wrong is because the movies that they defend are absolute garbage in terms of plot, writing, character, all of it. And I wish I could go deeper into detail, but that would take more time than I have. Just know that videos on the subject are coming.
Well, not that many people know you. Even less people like you. So you might as well do everyone a favor, including yourself, and fucking explain yourself.
I have explained myself. It's just that people don't watch streams, which is why I need to make the video. But I can't make the video right now because I have stuff to do, like the military, because I signed and I have to go. It's beyond my control. I wish I could, but I never had the time. And when I did, the end product was poorly crafted. That could only exist if you know the difference between objectivity and subjectivity. Like, if you have that standard, that you can tell when something is well made and when something isn't. And my GVK video, which I finished, was garbage. So, yeah. It exists and you can find it. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's there. I'm ashamed of it because it was poorly crafted, but the points are there. And I even have to redraft the entire script. So now it's like 188 pages worth of me analyzing GVK. Of course, nobody's going to watch like a 4-hour, 5-hour long video on GVK, but I will make it. I will make it. Trust that I already have, technically. But, you know. I mean, it's like 1 hour long, but yeah.
People already hate your guts, so chances are they're not gonna watch another video of yours, so you might as well make that first impression count. I've heard you out 3 separate times and you still explain absolutely nothing. Maybe you'd be already finished with that video if you stopped spunking your time making sauceless shit like this. If you did...
Okay. I can tell that he's aggressive. He's getting aggressive. I made those videos specifically to prep people for those videos, for those long man videos. But again, yes, I get it. I get it. I get it. All right, I definitely get it. I get it. I get why he's upset. All people already don't like me. I don't care. I don't care. There's enough people that do to watch my videos. So like I don't do this for fame. I do this because it's something that needs to be said, that nobody else is saying it but me. Well, and other people. And other people are definitely saying it. But like, I don't think anybody's doing like a long man on Godzilla versus Kong like how I'm doing it. So, I mean, I technically did it. Military, how about the Zig in my beach? I'm not that kind of military. I'm working on missile repair. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Missile repair.
I wouldn't be fucking sitting here now, would I? It is incredible how a video can say so much, yet absolutely nothing at the same time. This is the most nothing video I've seen in ages. The only takeaway from this video is that subjectivity just isn't a thing to him. Half of this video...
What does that... I know subjectivity exists, it just doesn't apply when critically analyzing a movie. So, it just doesn't apply. When you're analyzing a movie script, if you're analyzing a movie script, just the script, the screenplay, then subjectivity is not something that belongs there. It just doesn't. So, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Video is just, you're stupid, I'm smart, this movie good, this movie bad, with nothing but it just is okay arguments backing it up.
What I'm getting real tired of this, considering that, again, all these streams do exist. I'm getting real tired of these arguments. But once again, I can't fault him because I don't expect him to watch through the entirety of them. It's frustrating because I want to, but I can't. Because I don't know if he knows that I made those streams. So yeah, like I don't know what to do in this situation, but let him know, hey, I have streams where I detail these things.
Ends the video on his speech about motivational and inspirational pieces of art as if people already didn't know he was pretentious, completely forgetting the fact that what people find inspirational and motivational is completely subjective. And
could it be that I was just trying to inspire people to demand better movies? Could it just be that? Which is the whole goal, which is the whole reason why that video exists in the first place. To demand better? It could be that. Maybe. Maybe it could be that. I don't know.
That itself doesn't make for a good movie. This has been exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. Okay, final sprint, final stretch.
In conclusion, Blackaroonie is a bitch-ass motherfucker. No sympathy for the monsters is him trying to explain why Godzilla works better as a villain with extra steps.
Every Godzilla movie sucks is a self-insisting rant that can't decide on the point it's trying to make.
And no, we can't have both is what you find when you search up nothing in the dictionary.
I should have said this at the start, but the opinions are not the problem I have with these videos.
It's everything else. I genuinely don't understand the mentality behind these videos. They're like the Ferdinand tank destroyer. Seems all well and good on the surface, but when you see the thing actually out in the field, you realize that the fucking thing sucks. Why you'd spend time on something that isn't helping your point in the slightest when there are clearly things that demand more attention and are far more important is beyond me. It's amazing just how good this guy is at yapping. He'll have a concept, he centers the whole 10-minute video around and spends like an actual minute on set concept, spending the rest of the video doing nothing but chatting shit against the only audience that would ever watch his videos.
These are the type of videos that even when you can't put it into words, you just know there's something wrong with it. The second you stop and really think about what he's saying and start analyzing it, these videos completely fall apart.
It's hard to disprove anything he says because he doesn't prove anything to begin with. But I honest to God wouldn't give so much of a shit if this guy wasn't such a bitch to listen to.
I can't stand to hear another word of this malarkey.
Bro thinks he's him, but trust me pal, you're not that guy. These entire videos are centered around the idea that he is correct, that it's all objective.
That his way of thinking is the correct way of thinking. But he ultimately forgets that his opinions are just that. Opinions. And it's...
I never once say this or allude to this, so the fact that you came up with this idea that I believe my thing is correct. Again, I do believe it, but I'm not gonna go outright and say it or even just like self-aggrandize myself like that, because the whole point of the video is just to explain things. Again, yes, I should have gone into more detail, but then again, that's what the streams are for, kind of. In the meantime, while I worked on the other videos in the background, because again, I have a busy life. But yeah, it just comes across as me just trying to justify myself, justify my own actions. It comes across as just me, like, you know, oh, just leave me alone, dude, okay? No, I like these types of videos, because at least this guy is like smart about it. Like, this is definitely like the smartest, I don't want to call it a diss, like probably like the smartest response video to my channel that I've ever gotten. This is probably like the smartest one I've ever gotten. I will give him that. He's definitely smarter than Rick. He's definitely more intelligent than Rick. So I will give him credit where credit is due. Get me on next time. I would break down every argument this guy has and why it's wrong, LMAO. I literally did ask you, and you said you weren't busy. That you were busy. Sorry. So like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. This is oddly antagonistic, but you know, I don't blame him.
It shows just how unself-aware he is. The amount of overconfidence and pompousness that goes into these videos is so undeserved, it's staggering.
It is pretentiousness at its absolute worst. There, I said it. Sorry, but not sorry. Blackaroonie, by any chance, if you're watching this, two things. That gourmet you said you'd cook?
Let me cook. I promise I have a good gourmet meal prepared for this one.
Yeah, tasted like shit and you burned the kitchen down while you were at it.
Second, watch Downfall. It's a really good movie.
Okay.
Monker.
And that's about it.
I could go on a lot longer as there's still stuff I could go into, but you know what? This has been Martin and I hope to see you another time.
To be or not to be.
Okay, that's the end of the video so far. That was definitely grueling. He definitely cooked me alive with the whole thing of, you know, making the videos. He definitely did do that. So, but overall, I think like the rest of the points I've made so far have been really coherent. And yeah, I don't know what you would call this video. I don't know what you would classify this. He said, and then says, "I got work." I know you had work. So I know. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just respond in the comments or something. In his comments, I don't know. Respond to the video. Although again, I don't think that's really you really need to do that, because again, like I feel like I feel like I did a really good job with this stream. But yeah, like I will give credit where credit is due. I will give him props for that. He's probably the best. Like this is probably like the best video um talking about my channel, and maybe not trying to debunk it, but trying to counter my points. This is probably the best video of its kind. I don't think I've ever seen a video do something this well. And I can tell that this guy has good tastes. So I think this was a lot better than I expected, because I expected like, because so far the counters that I've been gone were just absolutely brain dead. But I'm pleasantly surprised. This video is like, besides like the technical aspects, like the music being way too loud, which like for me, like some of my videos also have this problem, which is I've been trying to fix it, and I think I succeeded in my last video. Yeah, like besides that, this is probably like the best video of its kind. Because again, like all the other videos that I've gotten, like their responses were just absolutely brain dead. So what do you guys think? I think, and also yes, I will watch Downfall. This is that I've been seeing those clips of that movie. I've been seeing those clips of that movie, and I've been wanting to know where it's from, but now that you tell me like the actual title of the movie, now I will watch it, because I've been wanting to watch it. I've been wanting to. I just never knew the name. So thank you for the recommendation. See, this is how you do a response video. This is how you do a response video against someone, because there were actual good points. And an N says, "I don't give credit for Jack. He misinterpreted your points on purpose and nitpicked." He nitpicked some stuff. He didn't nitpick. Wait, what's wrong with Downfall? Given that he's probably the best response video I've gotten. Like I kind of trust his judgment on movies a little bit. He definitely earned some of my trust. I wish there were more people critically analyzing the show. Hey, saying I want to do videos on that. I made the thumbnails. I just haven't written the scripts or anything. I have the notes, but I don't have I want to, after I leave, I plan to do that. Wait, I have some things that I wanted to ask you. Oh, go ahead. I have very limited time. I got 5 minutes, so ask quickly. Yeah. I don't know how much time I have left. This is probably it. It's probably it. I should probably go now, but just if you have a question, just either comment on the video or my video. The stream. This stream. You can comment on the stream after. Plus, plug Cindy's new game before you leave. Oh yeah. Can you link it? Cause I can't. I don't know where it is. Can you find the link? That would be great. If you found that link. Do you know about Hello Kitty and Transformers? I know they exist. I know Hello Kitty and Transformers Prime exist. I don't know why you bring it up here, but yes, I do know they exist. Cine. I have a friend called Cine. He made a video game. I'm trying to find it. It's called Clash of Melodies. Let me see if let me. Okay, send myself that. Copy and paste. Yeah. So, Clash of Melodies. It's a game. It's a vidya game. God, give me a second. Sorry. It's I need to link it before I do anything. On Indiegogo, you can support him. You can support him on the go-go. I'm just rambling at this point incoherently. I'm just rambling. Crap. Yeah, here it is, Indiegogo. Support his upcoming, if you want to. It's a rhythm game. If you like those kinds of games. 8 days left for the fundraiser. So far, $462 have been raised, and he needs a goal of $31,000. So if y'all are interested, you can support him on Indiegogo. It's great if you want to play DDR with your fingers. Now give him 30K. Yeah. Yeah, so support his game. He's a good dear friend of mine. Yeah. God, I need to go. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking around for as long as you did. I really appreciate it. We finally finished an entire video again. That's another round of applause. Round of applause. So yeah, thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for everything so far. I mean, this is probably gonna be the second to last time I see y'all before I leave. But yeah, thank you. How do I end this stream? Oh right. Cut to black.